Brady. This is going to be exciting.
And we got career starts up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's going to win it here in spectacular fashion.
Welcome to the Goat Locker Sports Car Series, and after a week off, the drivers are stepping into a 2-hour endurance event right here at Silverstone. Along with the race being doubled from a normal hour-long race, it's Silverstone, one of the most technical circuits out there. The high-end prototypes are warmed up with the elegant GT3 sports cars, and they're all set to take the green flag in just moments. This is the Goat Locker Sports Car Series presented by MK Fire Design right here on B-Speed, your #1 source for online race coverage. I am Ken Huber. Joined alongside me is Jacob Lenke, and then we got Eddie Smith producing as normal, and Dougie Beards doing all the fine camera work tonight. Hey, welcome back there, Jacob. You've had a couple weeks off.
Yes, I did. What I miss?
You missed a couple of great races last week. We were at Spa. We had a rain-drenched, well, I wouldn't call it drenched, but kind of a fun race out there. So a couple of weeks ago, we had a lot of the guys dealing with the rain. Now they're out here dealing with an endurance event. So kind of a nice little double header here.
Yep, double whammy for sure, going from one set of conditions, and now they got to spend 2 hours around this track. Why don't you take us through it?
Yeah, well, this is welcome to the home of British motor racing. A former World War II airfield transformed into the fastest, most hallowed stretches of asphalt on the planet. This 3.66-mile high-speed gauntlet pushes both man and machine to the absolute limit. Defined by legendary corners like Turn 9, a flat-out right-hander, and a breathtaking high G-force flow of Maggots, Beckett's, and Chappelle complex as drivers blast down the hanger straight to navigate the tricky final chicane at Vale. They aren't just fighting for position, they're wrestling with 75 years of history under often unpredictable weather changes here at Silverstone. But I think we're early morning, the weather's looking pretty good, so I think we're going to have a pretty clear race in that regard.
Yes, indeed. And we have just finished up qualifying. Looks like everybody's getting ready to get gridded now.
Well, let's talk about our Jam Printing and Promotion. Since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed to printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning, local and veteran certified. When they do well, they do good in the community. And our Jam Printing Promotion Pull Award winner will go to Reagan Carty. No surprise there. But look there on his outside, he's going to have Nathan Graham starting in the second place. Elijah Toth will start in third with Sammy Yosef on his outside in the fourth position. In P5, we have Jamie Lipke, and on his or her outside will be Jason Kristen. And then Brian Provo will start in seventh with Bill Mofield starting P8 on the outside.
And for the GT3s, once again, it's a front row lockout for Austin Cobb and Derek Tierums. Daniel Schmall rolls off P3, Timbo Parker in 4th, Timothy Wilms in 5th with Chase Marcus in that 6th position. Anna Softic in 7th, John Houchin rolling off P8, Billy Sigmund rolling off 9th, JR Schomburg rounding out the top 10. DJ Patterson rolls off in 11th, Brandon Wallace in 12th, Kyle Deering in 13th, and the 14th position will be taken by Joshua Jackson, our first winner on the season. Sidarius Days in 15th, Jesse Fox gritting in the 16th position, Brock Bryce in 17th, and Mike Swartzen rounding out our 18-car GT3 field.
Yeah, nice sizable field there in the GT3s. We do have a short parade lap, so we're going to get to racing right away, and I'm sure these guys are anxious. 2 hours is nothing like going around Silverstone at 35 miles an hour. They're not going to have to do it here tonight. They're going through the final chicane right now, getting ready to go onto the front stretch. We're going to turn them loose. Green flag racing here. You can see all the prototypes up front there. Reagan Carty's going to lead them to the green flag. Going to have Nathan Graham. We didn't see him here last week, but Nathan is a very fast driver. Might be able to give old Reagan Carty a run. We're about to find out. We are green flag, and Reagan Carty is away. Nathan Graham on the outside. We got Elijah Toth pushing Reagan up front there.
Yes, indeed. As the GT3s round it through Club Corner onto the Hamilton Straight, we're almost single file already with Austin Cobb and Derek Tierums jumping out to the 1-2.
Yeah, and I just see one of the prototypes off track there, so I'm not sure who that was. Yeah, it looks like Samuel Yosef. Goes off track, and we got another spin there. Yeah, Jamie Lipke, she goes off. Finds her way into the grass, but she's got 2 hours to gather that thing back up and make up some positions, but she's going to drop dead last in that prototype field.
If there's any damage on there, they do have the time to fix it, as we're looking at the 08 of Brian Provo right now. A little bit slower, but he has made up 2 positions off of the incidents in the early goings here as they make their way through the more technical part of this track.
Yeah, Brian Provo, a very strong prototype driver out there trying to make up positions. We've talked about Provo a bunch, always having to climb his way through the field. He does a pretty good job. He's got Sammy Yosef there just ahead of him there, and he'll try to get that work done. You can see Sammy Yosef in that silver prototype up there. I believe Samuel is in the Porsche. Yes, he is, and we got Brian Provo running the Cadillac. So, we got another prototype off in the grass back there.
Looks like that'll be the 392 Bill Molefield off track in the Cadillac. Lipke's going to have a chance to try and make up that position they lost from before, but Molefield gets it back going, and we're all straight.
Yeah, this is a situation where I think these guys just don't have the tires warmed up. Very tricky track. We got a car prototype actually headed to pit lane. I believe it's Samuel Yosef already, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm going to take a look. Yeah, Samuel Yosef on pit lane. I didn't see any damage to that race car, but maybe this is some unusual strategy. I don't know what's going on here with Samuel.
It looks like they have a penalty for avoidable contact with Jamie Lipke that sent them around. So an early setback for Samuel Yosef puts them in the back of the prototype field.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate turn of events. We're going back to the GT3 field now, looking at Austin Cobb leading the way here. Derek Tierums just behind him. These two guys, we've seen them, they're teammates. One in the Corvette and one in the McLaren there. The McLaren following that Corvette. Austin Cobb been really strong. And now these two guys aren't dealing with one of our previous race winners. So usually, we'll have a 1, 2, 3, 4 cars running up front. But we'll see what these guys can do as the night progresses here on this 2-hour race. And I don't want to count out Daniel Schmall just behind these two guys in that red and black Mustang. In the BMW. As he's getting through the corners right now. So doing a pretty good job keeping pace with those two fast guys in front.
Cobb and Tierums have shown that they're routinely 2 of the fastest cars on track in the GT3 field that we have seen. No Marietta, no Cody McElwain, so it's going to be these 2 up at the front for a majority of this race.
Yeah, we'll see how good they are on the endurance side of it. Curious, I haven't seen Daniel Schmall race with this yet, so I think this might be his first race, his inaugural, as they would say. So he might have something for these guys, maybe saving some tires on that BMW, as we can see Sammy Yosef now coming up behind him. Samuel, if you remember, had to make that pit stop for that penalty, and now going to start passing through these top three in the GT3 field.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of GT3s, we were taking a look at Anis Softic, our newest sim rig recipient, getting past JR Schomburg in the Porsche after the Porsche got into the grass back there. Looks like he's gotten into the tail of into the tailwind of the BMW here. Taking a look on board of the 8th running GT3.
Yeah, that's a great job by Anis in that car, being that he's a new sim rig recipient. He does have a lot of pressure now. JR Schomburg now, they're putting a lot of pressure in that Porsche just behind him, but we're looking out the windshield there. You can see it. He's putting a lot of pressure on there, trying to get that position back, but Anis doing a great job in that BMW.
Yep, able to take that corner almost flat out completely and then rolling it back. Let's take a look at some of the different corners that we're going to be looking at for the majority of this one. We're going up to, this is what? My track map's not working. I'm having some issues here. Rolling off to the left-hander onto the straightaway.
Yeah, I want to say that's I'm even confused now because I wasn't expecting this. Wellington straight now as they head down into Bruxland. This is turn 6 and 7. So the one thing, we got a lot of time here tonight, Jacob, but the one thing I want to talk about this track is how technical it is and what makes a track really technical. It really has to do with the complex of corners that are at this place. So, just like Coda and Silverstone are very similar in the way you race them. So you usually have a series of 3 turns, and you have to be perfect on every corner in those 3 turns, or it really sets you back. There's nowhere else on the track you're going to make up a time. If you're, say, at Laguna Seca or any other track, you mess up a corner, you have a straightaway to get it corrected, and usually by the next corner you're fixed. But on a track like this, you can't make any mistakes, especially on corner entry, because it's going to set up the next 2 corners and with just horrible lap times.
Taking a look on board with Schomburg riding behind the BMW of Softic right now. And looking at
them coming into the final chicane here. So trying to put that pressure back on, and this is where he's been strong. Trying to get back to Anis here, but this is where Anis really opened it up, just able to. He gets sideways, hangs onto it. Oh no, he slaps that wall hard. I thought he was going to hang onto it. Oh, that was a close call.
Almost gets Houchin caught up in that. Left front on that BMW looks like it is hanging by a thread. He might have to tow after that one.
Well, that's some good old commentator's curse, I guess. We were talking about him too much there, Jacob, and he's doing a great job, but he's got 2 hours, so, some other guys might struggle out there as well as we go back and take a look. You can see he just gets loose there, and he was really fast through there earlier, slaps that wall, and then that car just comes around him, and I'm not sure who that other car was in that orange Porsche there, but just barely misses him.
That was Houchin. He almost came in contact with. Taking a look now at our 6th place runner, Billy Sigmund, fighting with Joshua Jackson, who's up 8 positions after the start of this one, only less than 10 minutes in.
Yeah, doing a great job there watching these 3 cars here. You got a Porsche, a BMW, and a Corvette up front there. So currently running in that 7th position, doing a great job. I'm just actually trying to get caught up myself in that green and gold Porsche there. You can see Billy Sigmund, kind of the ham in that sandwich right there, trying to hold off a strong JR Schomburg there in that BMW. So still JR showing some good strength in those BMWs. BMWs actually look kind of tough out there tonight.
That is Billy Sigmund that's tailing the Porsche right now as they're both tracking down the 710. That's the Corvette at Chase Marcus just ahead of him. I hear he's been having some pretty good success in the MX-5 series.
Yeah, I haven't been following that series. Yeah, my mistake there. It's Joshua Jackson in that green and gold Porsche there as they head down towards Begets. But Yeah, doing a great job. The BMW looks really strong out here tonight. Like I said, we have that third place Daniel Schmall in a BMW as well. And then we just saw Honest go off track there. He was really strong as well until he had his incident. But BMW is looking really tough out there. But up front in that GT3 field, Austin Cobb in the Corvette actually just got around Honest. He's got that damage repaired. We're still watching this 3-car battle here. Nothing's really changed, just staying in each other's tire tracks. Maybe Joshua looking for a little bit of weakness on that car in front of him. We'll have to wait and see. Chase Barkus just ahead of him in the Corvette.
Well, one thing everybody's got to keep in mind, you got twice as long to make your moves this time. We're only 10 minutes into this race, and there's another hour and 50 minutes to go. Not just a whole. We're not running a full hour. We're running 2 hours. This is the first of the longer races that we're going to have. So you have a little bit more time to think about your moves. You have a little bit more time to strategize and put yourself in a position to have a good finish. And we're taking a look at Timothy Wilms now battling. I think that is the 45 of Brock Price just behind in the Audi.
Yeah, both of these guys going through the fast right-hander here, headed towards the S's. And this is another fast right-hander. And this is, you got to be careful here not to overshoot it. You'll get a slowdown here as they head into Meggetts and Beckett's here. And this is a really difficult. It took me a long time, Jacob, to really learn this section of the track. It seems simple, it's a bunch of S's, but it actually, to go fast, it really takes absolute precision to get through those S's properly. And if you can get it done, it really increases your lap time.
Yep, seeing our GTP leader Reagan Carty get past the mid-pack GT3s as Price has fallen off a little bit from the back end of Wilms.
Going back here, looking at Brian Provo here. Brian Provo up now from the 7th starting position up to 4th, so he is doing what he normally does. I'm used to seeing him in that other car. Oh, I'm thinking of Brandon McDonald. We don't have Brandon McDonald out here tonight, so he's one of our previous race winners, but we do have Brian Provo. But Brian Provo trying to chase down those leaders, but he's got quite a ways to go. Now he's 15 seconds behind Elijah Toth, who's currently sitting in that 3rd position, but he is starting to make up some time. We'll see if he can. He's got, like you said, he's got an hour and 45 minutes to get it done at this point, so anything can happen with some of our race leaders up front.
Provo, one of our more consistent GTP drivers. The only thing that's taken him out of contention were a couple of mistakes and incidents that he got involved with some other cars in his class, and as it's looking right now, I don't think he's going to have much of an issue in that department. Might just have to deal with the GT3s coming.
Yeah, a little bit of clean track right now as it stands. So he's got Jason Kristen behind him. And Jamie Lipke, if you remember, she spun out. The first lap of this race is back up to the 6th position. You can see her back there just behind Jason Kristen. So she is making up time, and she's looking at starting to look at the back of Jason Kristen. She is running him down. And so I expect in the next lap, maybe even this lap, she is going to be there and maybe be able to pull off a move here to get by Jason.
Taking this long right-hander, I believe that's Luffield. And then there's a slight right from Woodcott onto the back straight right before we hit Cop's Corner. Having to feather it a little bit, but that corner, I believe, isn't that the one? If you followed Formula One, you know why that one has been made famous in recent years, because I think that's the one where Verstappen and Hamilton ended up getting together when they were in that tight points race. Can't remember what year that was.
I don't remember that, but I do remember one of the Formula One races at Red Bull. It was something similar to that, going into turn 3 there, but yeah, there we can see Jason Kristen now as they're starting to navigate some of this GT3 traffic. You can see Jamie Lipke just back there trying to hope to get an advantage, but she is almost there. And Jason's got quite a few GT3s just ahead of him there. He's going to have to get around. You got Cedarius Days and Brock Price at the moment, the next 2 cars that he's looking at. So I'm going to look to the inside of that Audi there. Going to get that one done. And then now you can see Jamie is now back there she is passing the outside of that Audi, so Jamie is basically there at this point.
Kristen gets backed up a little bit by the Mustang up in front, and that's going to offer Lipke to get right up behind them. That's Sedarius Days ended up backing off just to let these guys by, and Lipke is in the wake of Jason Kristen.
Yeah, this next corner is one of my favorites here to get it just right. You have to be very careful on the brakes when you trail brake in here. It's very easy to get the car loose in the back, and all the downforce comes off the cars right here, so they're very easy on the accelerator. They're going to get hard after it now, and I imagine with the downforce of these GTPs, going to be able to stick it through the next couple of corners without too much issue. Maybe as the tires wear on the GT3s, they might have to back it down just a little bit, but there it looks like Jamie did back it down. They're going to set up an inside approach there, but as they go into the S's here, she's going to back. No, Jason's going to give her the position. So move Jamie Lipke up another spot to 5th place.
Maybe try and set up a move on the exit of Chapel here once we get through the rest of the S's, and he's going to keep it backed off all the way. Lipke's back in the top 5.
Yeah, I think Jason knew that just Jamie was just so much faster and didn't want to press the issue right now. I think Jason just wants to run his race and race the track. This track is already hard enough when you're, and then you have to add in 2 hours and racing other cars. It just makes it that much more difficult. Headed here to the final chicane here, watching Jamie get through here. We'll see what Jamie can do for the rest of the night. Next car in her sight picture is going to be Brian Provo, but Brian Provo is quite a ways ahead of her at this point. About six and a half seconds or so.
Speaking of sight picture, look who's back into the picture. Samuel Yosef, after that early penalty, is starting to track these two down.
Yeah, another one of those, along with Jamie Lipke, had troubles at the start of this race. Now looking back there at Jason Kristen, Jason Kristen's like, well, I got these positions. Now they're going to work on, I'm going to lose them again. But that's the way it goes sometimes. But Jason's just holding on to a solid race, and I think he's probably doing the right thing.
And we're taking a look again at the Porsche. Joshua Jackson up 9 positions from the start of this race. Started in 14th in class, now running in the top 5 after getting past Billy Sigmund, trying to track down Timbo Parker in that next Porsche.
And you can see it just ahead there in that purple and white Porsche. That's Timbo Parker just ahead there. And, yeah, we know Joshua Jackson's fast. He's been fast all season. And I think he just got caught off on the qualifying run. Or did he put down a qualifying time? I'm not even sure at this point. But, yeah, started way back there in the back and is rising up through the ranks, as they would say here, headed down through the back half of the track here.
It might have been a victim of track limits because I'm not seeing a qualifying time for Jackson. Meanwhile, 2 Porsches battling it out. This JR Schomburg under fire from the 66 of John Houchin. Houchin getting a great run out of the corners, able to tail Schomburg all the way down the hangar straight.
Yeah, they'll go through the next set of turns here and try to keep the tires under this car. This is where the cars get a little bit sketchy here. Going to make this right-hander, and then coming up to this is kind of a blind left-hander here. And you got to be very careful getting on the gas around this corner. You can see Hochin gets up on the curb a little bit. That's going to upset that Porsche, but he's got a nice run there. I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything with him at this point. Looks like maybe JR, I thought JR was going to let him go. No, he's just defending the position there. As Hochin did have a run, took a peek there, almost got that nose to the back bumper of Schomburg. Able to hold it off here as they go through the tight right-hander, the 180, and onto the backside.
Onto Woodcott through Luffield. And we're taking a look a little bit too far inside for Houchin, but that's going to give him a little momentum as he tries to tail back up to Schomburg, heading up to Kopp's Corner.
Yeah, I mean, you can see him just backs off there, trying to get this thing gathered up. We'll see what he does in the S's here and see if he can make up some time, see which car's doing the best here in this section of the track. I'm just thinking about fuel, so where are we at? We are 20 minutes into this thing, so we're still a ways out from fuel, so we're about halfway through a fuel run at this point. As you can see, he's got a run down. I think that was Brian Provo in the GTP going by. these two drivers. And Hochin going to take a look to the inside there. Nothing doing so far. We'll see what he does down here into the final chicane as they head towards the front stretch. Maybe he can outbrake JR, but no, it looks like he's going to hang back for now.
Thought better of it through Stone, now through the chicane at Vale, up to the right, and up to the start-finish line. We're seeing a great battle between these two.
Yep. And there's been some great battles all over the track, but this is probably the best battle at the moment. Hochin really wants this position. You can see him really working that Porsche, really driving that hard. And then JR is just trying to be consistent there, but JR gets a little wide, gets on those curbs, takes a shallower line there, so he isn't going to have the exit speed that Hochin's going to have. But surprisingly, Hochin couldn't get up on the throttle fast enough. They got some GT3 traffic. Jamie Lipke is now going to go by both of them as they head down into the next complex. And it looks like Samuel Joseph is hot in pursuit of Jamie Lipke. So here's another race that's developing here with the prototypes. So you got the two GT3s, and then you got the two prototypes there. Samuel Joseph trying to hunt down Jamie Lipke. Both those drivers had struggles at the start of this race, now moving their way back up forward and racing each other at the same time.
Both of these drivers making their way past Jason Christ and Joseph, tailing Lipke as they try and make it back up to the rest of the GTP pack. Joseph trying to erase that deficit they had from the early penalty. Lipke already having recovered from the contact with Joseph that they had. And it looks like Joseph might have the advantage through the more technical sections, but Lipke's getting on the gas as they get onto the straightaways a lot better.
Yeah, well, he does have a little bit of toe back there with that arrow coming off Lipke's car. So we'll see Samuel close in here in the corner here, and he definitely does. We'll see what he does here in the chicane. I haven't seen anybody try to outbrake anybody going into this complex turn here, but we'll see who has the best exit. Maybe Samuel can close in even closer here. Grab some of that arrow. No, Samuel gets a little loose, gets that car upset. So he's right now dependent on that toe. Jamie doing everything she can to stay out front.
A little bit of a wiggle there. Lipke taking a tighter exit into the corners here, trying to get around that Corvette Chase Barkas, and Barkas isn't giving up the position just yet. Almost puts Samuel Joseph in a bad position and just bogs him up on exit. That's going to be advantage Lipke as they get into the middle sector. Yeah,
that's catching the traffic at the wrong time there. Caught Barkas there. That's going to separate those two drivers out just a little bit, but I'm sure Sammy Joseph will run that driver back down as we're back with this battle that we were talking about earlier there. So we got JR Schomburg and trying to click on something there. JR and Hochin there still going at it. I was going to bring up something I talked about at the top of the broadcast, but our leader Reagan Carty in the GTPs is still, trying to set sail. But Nathan Graham back there, who started in second, he was about 5 seconds back. When this race started a little bit slower, but Nathan Graham is starting to run Reagan Carty back down. So I talked about this with a pre-race with Jacob here, but I knew seeing Nathan Graham in this server here tonight that Reagan Carty might have a steering wheel full or a rear view mirror full of Nathan Graham, and Nathan Graham looks like he's coming at the moment.
Yep, Graham, another extremely fast driver that we have seen here on the road courses that we put on with GLR. He said he was really good with the GT3s before, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, he's just a really good road racer. Right now, Hochin back to that battle with the GT3s. So we got Hochin and JR Schomburg right now. Hochin tried to make a pass there, couldn't quite make it stick. Oh, there he goes, going to try to outbrake him into the chicane, maybe do the undercut here. Nope, it's going to swing out wide, try to get a run off. So Hochin making a valiant attempt there on JR Schomburg. Couldn't quite done. Going to go on the outside here as they cross the start-finish line. I don't know. We'll see if he can hold it there on the outside as they go through this tight right-hander here. It's a tough, he does. Now he's got the advantage. So it looks like Hochin has finally got that position taken, at least for now.
Pulls the momentum through Farm and Abbey. Hochin able to get that position off Schomburg, but it's not over yet. The Navy car trying to make a move back to the bumper, and it looks like it's going to be advantage 66.
Yeah, Houchin doing a great job there, just being really patient, not forcing any issues, waiting for a mistake. And he got that mistake out of the chicane, able to run to the outside and get that position made. So now that he's got the position made, it does look like he's starting to stretch that out just a little bit.
Yep, definitely taking advantage of that move he pulled on Schomburg and starting to step away with that 8th position.
Yeah, that was a great move on his part there. Running the inside there, he's got the speed. He's opened it up to about 10 car lengths already. So just being really patient there. And this is a battle for 8th position. So these guys are battling really hard. Oh, J.R. Schomburg gets a little bit off there on the outside and likely almost gave himself a slowdown. But now we're watching Joshua Jackson again there in that green and gold Porsche. Joshua Jackson continuing to run down other drivers, but he's got Billy Sigmund just behind him as he's trying to run down Antic Softic, who's already a lap down, and then Timbo Parker that's about 4 seconds ahead of this group.
Yep, Softic probably going to give way to these guys. Joshua Jackson having made a very strange strategy call to go for it with what fuel load he had in the first race that we took a look at. It was at Fuji. Jackson might be wanting to play a little bit more with the strategy now that we got a bit longer race here. But he's fighting off Billy Sigmund, who is he's one of our other big movers. He's up 3 spots in the GT3 class. Jackson's still only up 9.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do. Like I said, Joshua is a fast driver, so I know he's fully capable. And that fuel mileage strategy that he used at Fuji was absolutely stellar, perfect, so he knows how to manage his throttle pedal, gets around that lap car there on a Softic, and continuing this 2-car battle with Billy Sigmund and Joshua Jackson here, headed around the backside of the track. Well, while there's a little bit of lull in the action, why don't we talk about one of our sponsors? We're going to talk about Glove Station. At Glove Station, they are committed to providing quality gloves and protective gear for a wide range of your daily activities and jobs. From tinkering at home to do-it-yourself projects to working in industrial environments and everything in between, they've got you covered. With endless amounts of safety products on the market, they want to make it effortless for you to find the right protection for your needs. That's Glove Station.
They are the proud sponsor of the White Flag and all of our series, as I'm sure you've heard on the broadcasts up to this point. Got to have good hands if you want to drive some of these cars. Speaking of good hands, Samuel Yosef all the way back to the back bumper of Jamie Lipke once again. As I think is that Molefield? No, is that Provo?
Yeah, it looks like Provo. 2 seconds just behind or just in front of these two. So, Provo is slowed down just a little bit, or Jamie's just that fast. Both Jamie and Samuel, of course, they qualified ahead of Provo too. So it almost makes sense. But we also know how fast Brian Provo could be. But I think these two have just managed to run him down. As we watch Samuel, these two finally get it back together. They seem pretty evenly matched. Although Samuel might be a little bit faster, but once Samuel gets there, can't seem to do anything. They've got a bunch of GT3 traffic now. Coming up on the leaders of the GT3 traffic, I believe there. So they've got a lot of traffic that they're dealing with right now. You can see as we look through the windscreen of Samuel Yosef as it goes through Maggots Beckett's. And he does run all the way back to Jamie Lipke. He's going to have a little bit of toe advantage, but looks like he got a little off there as he goes by the leader of Cobb there in that Corvette. That's a GT3 leader that these drivers just went by.
That has bunched the 4th, 5th, and 6th running GTPs up within almost a quarter second of each other. Jamie Lipke, the meat and the sandwich right now as they make their way through the Vale chicane back up toward Club in the front straight. Lipke a little bit on the back foot from the exit there. Yosef able to try and capitalize when they go into warm.
Yeah, and I think we're pretty close to starting to see pit stops from our GTP field. So I think they're probably on the razor's edge right now of looking at coming in. So I imagine within a lap or two, we're going to start to see these prototypes start to head to pit lane. And boy, this is quite a battle shaping up right here as Lipke looks to the inside of Provo and couldn't quite get it done there. Provo's got the advantage, chops off that corner there, and is going to get a run down the straight into the next corner. But Sammy Yosa's going to take a look to the inside of Jamie Lipke and doesn't quite have the position. They're going to have to back off and wind that thing back up, and maybe he can do it on the exit of this 180.
Last time Sammy Yosef tried to make a move on Jamie Lipke, Lipke ended up going around, and that caused the early penalty from those two. Yosef's got to be careful he doesn't make a move like that again as he jumps to the inside, sells the dummy, and everybody is able to get through the corner okay. Provo goes wide, and Lipke sends it in.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna cause a there it is, a slowdown penalty for Provo. He just had to jump out of the gas and serve that slowdown for that wide exit he had there. But Jamie Lipke trying to still hold on. She moved up position over Provo, but Sammy Yosef would really like that position. And I don't know, with pit stops coming up, I don't know. I think I'd sit back there and just see what shakes out during the pit cycle. We'll have to see.
Every position. Going to take a look at a pass that we missed from the GT3s after the leaders came through. Austin Cobb gets held up behind some lap traffic up here. Oh, makes some contact with the Porsche, and that allows Derek Tierums to get past for the lead. They're still within a second of each other and 15 seconds over third place, but mark that as a new leader for the GT3 class.
Yeah, and it's amazing, these two guys. We've watched them race after race, two different car makes out there running very similar lap times and staying with each other. Of course, they're teammates. That might be designed by design, but Derek Tierums does get that position over his teammate Cobb, but Cobb's been strong all season in that Corvette. We'll see if he can get it back. Now Jamie is under threat from Sammy Yosef. Sammy Yosef looking to the outside there. Jamie down on the inside as they go door to door or fender to fender or whatever you want to call it on these prototypes. Sammy Yosef on the outside with a power move there. It's going to get it done. Wow, what a place to get that done. Going through the 180, he's going to get hung up. Going to get hung up by a GT3 and going to have to give that back. So Sammy Yosef now falls behind Brian Provo.
What a fight. That was through both Luffield and the Woodcott. Lipke used the GT3 as a pick, and it ended up netting a spot for Provo as well as they make their way back up to fifth.
Provo now taking a peek there on Jamie Lipke as they go through the S's. Headed down to the final couple of turns here. Headed down onto Hanger straightaway into the final chicane here. I can't imagine these GTPs can go too much further. We'll have to wait and see. Speak of the devil there. It looks like we got some cars. Nathan Graham on pit road. So the first of our GTPs now exiting pit road. So Nathan Graham getting service done on that. We'll see if these three that are out here battling head to pit lane.
They got to be careful if they're going now because they don't want to run into each other on pit entrance. We saw some issues with pit entrance and exit at the Red Bull Ring. Almost contact for Provo on the back end of Lipke.
Yeah, and they did pass pit lane, and it's an interesting pit lane entrance here because actually you'll make a pass on your entry to pit lane the way it is. It's just such an easy route onto pit lane, and while everybody else has to go through the chicane, sometimes you can pick up a lap lead headed to pit lane. But we're watching Provo now. He's under threat there. He's got Yosef on the outside, and he's going to hang on to it for right now.
Oh, Yosef!
Around.
Sent it a little too hard. Provo ended up backing up after the near contact with Lipke, and Yosef made a move around. Provo kept it to the inside. Yosef pushed it just that little bit too hard, sent it around, and now he's probably going to go and take his pit stop to get some fresh tires on that car.
Well, he's been here before. He's going to have to do it again. So, he's had a minor setback there. No damage to the car. Get 4 tires on that, some fuel, and maybe make another attempt at here as we're back looking at Jamie Lipke now. Brian Provo just a few car lengths off the back of her there. You can see that white Ed Gold prototype just behind her. Going through the S's here. And I imagine this is going to be the pit stop time. I think this is probably the limit here. Just looking at Reagan Carty. Reagan Carty is, he's our leader. I'm just seeing if he's made his pit stop yet.
He is not, but who has Elijah Toth having taken the second place from Nathan Graham, who did make his stop, is on pit lane right now. None of the other GTPs have come down recently. Yosef, after serving that penalty, has. Jason Kristen also taking their stop. Toth now in his box. This Lipke makes their way onto pit lane.
Yeah, I figured this is going to have to start happening. I was surprised they were able to go this long, to be honest with you. But they did raise the fuel limit up to 65%. We did start off the season where the drivers were dealing with 50% fuel. Now we're up to 65, so they can go a little bit further. But these prototypes don't get the fuel mileage that the GT3s obviously get. So their fuel stops are obviously more often and plentiful there, as we're looking at Sammy Yosef making his way to his pit box. And there we go. There's our leader, Reagan Carty, now on pit lane, headed down to get that machine serviced.
What's concerning now, Reagan Carty just now getting onto the pit lane past Bill Mulfield. Mulfield is now a lap down, and all of the other cars currently on pit lane are sitting right in front of that 25. So when he comes out of the pits, they're going to be fighting to keep themselves on the lead lap as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting here. I'm really curious, though, what if Nathan Graham was able to make any time up on Reagan Carty. That was basically the two cars up front. Nathan Graham had about a 6-second deficit at the time that the pit sequence started. So Nathan Graham was one of the first of the prototypes to head to pit lane. I don't know what his strategy is. He's probably seeing something that I can't see with this longer race, but he's probably got something in mind. I know that he's a fast driver. We'll see what he can do as we're watching him go through the final chicane here and onto the front stretch. We'll see. And now Reagan Carty is leaving the pit box and out on the track. So opened up even further gap now. Looks like he's got about an 8-second lead over Nathan Graham at the moment.
Graham, the great stop, but it looks like Carty ends up edging him out just that little bit. Back at the battle for the GT3 lead, Derek Tierums and Austin Cobb have been within at least 0.3 of a second of each other since that pass was made. Tierums still out in the lead, but Cobb is not wanting to give it up. They're going to be getting towards one of their. They're going to be getting towards one of their stops once we get toward the midway of this one.
Yeah, and back to our leaders in the GTP field. Just talking about it. So Reagan Carty just came out of the pits. He's on cold tires. Nathan Graham is on warm tires. He's been out there for a few laps since his pit stop. Should be able to make up a little bit of a gap. Reagan Carty dealing with some heavy GT3 traffic right now, so that's only going to help Nathan Graham. Nathan Graham's back up to only a 5-second deficit right now, as we're still watching the two leaders of the GT3 field duke it out. So we've mentioned this. We've seen it last week. We've seen it weeks before. We've seen these two guys run nose to tail. We've also seen them crash together and crash into each other, as a matter of fact. I believe they had an incident at one of the tracks. I want to say it's Red Bull. I could be wrong. But these two drivers got together and kind of didn't have the night that either one of them were hoping to have. So hopefully they can prevent that from happening tonight.
Yep, it was an incident at Red Bull Ring where one of them ended up going around after getting some contact with a GTP. And the other one overcooked the corner and ended up taking them both out of contention for the win. That allowed Murrieta to run away with that win there, as we are taking a look at this battle. Once again, Jamie Lipke trying to hold off Samuel Yosef after they've made their stop.
Yeah, Samuel Yosef had the spin, so he's already back to a Jamie Lipke, so that's pretty impressive for Samuel. So he's just been I'll go ahead and spin it out, and then I'll run it back down, and then I'll spin it out. We'll see if he can get a pass made and maybe kind of step away, because it looks like Samuel's in a very fast machine out there. So, like I said, Samuel at the top of the broadcast running that Porsche, Jamie in the Acura. So we'll see what Samuel can do here. Going to take a look to the inside, kind of a head fake there, trying to get Jamie to drive in that rearview mirror. She doesn't fall for it. They're headed down towards the S's right now. And I imagine Samuel will hold off just for the moment anyway.
Yep, Yosef still tailing the back end of Lipke's car. And you know what? I said at the beginning of this season that Samuel Yosef was just testing out this car. I think that was a lie on his part. He has been consistently one of the better drivers that we've seen. Yes, he has made mistakes that have put himself in bad positions, like we saw the contact at the beginning, the spin, when they were battling with Provo and Lipke earlier. but they have battled back, and they're putting their car in position to try and get back into the top 5 right here. And this is the 3rd time he's done this.
Yeah, no, I know he's going to be well versed at making mistakes and getting around cars. So, but I got to tell you, Jamie's just doing a great defensive driving clinic right now, holding on to that position. Now, I don't know what happened with her pit stop because Brian Provo was able to really stretch out a 5-second lead over both these drivers after the pit cycle. So Brian Provo has got a little bit of breathing room for the moment, but Jamie just doing a really good defensive driving clinic, as I said, here in that Acura there. Is it going to head down? Samuel's going to have a little bit better of a toe here. We'll see. He's going to take a look to the inside. This is just such a tough place to do it. Then you're going to have to go around. Yeah, he's going to stick it in there, and then he's going to have to go around the outside. It's just so difficult here. Man, he is really pushing that thing, though, and can't quite get it done there. But I think he's going to have a momentum advantage, maybe onto this straight here, and maybe do an undercut before they get to Megs and Beckett's.
Almost contact again. So might have been some bump there as they get into Cop's corner. Sammy Yosef on the back bumper of Lipke. I don't know if he was forced off track there or if they were just trying to get through, as Lipke has caught a that is the Porsche of JR Schomburg just ahead of him, and Yosef's going to use him like a pick, like Lipke did for Houchin earlier.
Schomburg, he was in a situation there, wasn't expecting the cars to split him like that, and was headed to the outside lane, and that's where Lipke wanted it, and not wanting to give up that position, but she eventually had to give that up. I think now that Samuel's ahead, Samuel was driving that car really aggressively. I mean, we've seen that last 2 cycles. He's driving that car super aggressive. You know, he did get by Jamie Lipke there, but man, what a show he's putting on there tonight. Hopefully he doesn't spin it again.
Both of these guys have been killing it all night. Meanwhile, we're taking a look at the 05 and Nathan Graham, and something that we haven't seen at all this season. Reagan Carty is being reeled in by the second place car. When they came out of the pits, Graham was 7 seconds behind. That gap has come down to less than 2 seconds now as we're making our way through the middle sector of the track.
Yeah, and they got Jason Christen there, a lap down prototype there. Jason's going to get out of the way and let these two go at it. But, you know, it's going to be interesting because Nathan Graham came in a couple laps earlier than Reagan Carty, so I don't know how the fuel is going to play out in the end. And like I said, Nathan might know something that the rest of us don't, and we'll have to wait and see. But definitely going to throw some heat at Reagan Carty right now, and that's what he needs to do. He needs to put pressure on that driver, maybe force a mistake. We've seen Reagan Carty. He hasn't driven perfect races all season. I think, speaking of Red Bull, he had an incident at Red Bull that cost him the race. So anything's possible as fast as Reagan is, but never want to count Nathan Graham out.
No, you do not. He is putting on a clinic, trying to catch back up as we see a GT3 off on the runoff there. Graham up through that's through Maggots, Beckett's, and now when they make the exit off of the sweeping right-hander onto Chapel in the hangar straight, we're going to see just how much time he's going to make up on Carty down the back straight here as it comes down to 1.6 seconds now.
Yeah, I think Reagan Carty's just now getting to the point where his tires are warmed up after that pit stop. That's the one thing, you know, with Nathan Graham coming in as early as he did, able to run on those warm tires. And I think now that Reagan will get those tires warmed up, might be able to step away just a little bit, but Nathan's super strong, so we'll have to just wait and see. I'm not saying maybe Nathan is really fast, but I think these tires have probably equalized for both these drivers about now.
As these guys make their way down the straightaway, our leader in the GT3 class, having made his pit stop, Austin Cobb, inheriting the lead from Derek Tierums, is now on pit road, and he is the last of the GT3s to make their stop. It's going to be a question of the pit stop time, how long it takes for him to get out of his box. If he makes it out ahead of Tierums is 20 seconds back right now. Cobb drops onto the wheels. He's getting fueled up now. It's going to be close.
Yeah, Tierums is now coming up on the straightaway here. One more turn. He's going to cross the start-finish line, and you can see Cobb now exiting his pit stall. And now we're looking at Tierums. We'll see how these guys come up. I do believe Cobb has got the advantage. He's going to come out ahead. You can see he's going to have quite a lot of momentum there for Tierms, though, but I think Cobb has definitely got this position at this point.
Yeah, but he's also got cold tires, and he's got to manage those while Tierms tries to pull it back. 2.5 seconds the gap into the middle sector. Meanwhile, Samuel Joseph and Jamie Libke again having a battle. Libke having gotten by Joseph.
Yeah, we missed that somewhere there, Jacob, so I don't know where Jamie was able to get back by Samuel, but Samuel's been having some struggles, so I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe he got those tires a little hot back there. He's driving the wheels out. We're going to go back and take a look. Maybe we can figure out what happened here. So this is it. Yeah, so we're watching Jamie Libke up there, so we're going to go take maybe another. Here we go. Here we go. You see Samuel Joseph just ahead, and Jamie goes off the track just a little bit there. I'm not sure, so saves the car. Yeah,
Pulls
I guess
it back together. And we got the leaders of the GTP field in there now, 3 wide into the sweeper. The right-hander just then. Reagan Carty now splitting this battle. Samuel Joseph trying to fight to stay on the lead lap as Nathan Graham has caught and passed Jamie Libke. Joseph's got a black flag. No, in contact with Reagan Carty. Sends him around. Joseph goes further off the track. Nathan Graham passes by clean, and he is going to start running away with this thing.
That aggression, that's, I was about to say, we're going to go back and take a look at it here. Looking at Nathan Graham's point of view here, you can see Sammy Joseph off to the left side there, gets into the rear quarter of Reagan Carty, and Nathan Graham inherits the lead there. So Nathan Graham didn't really have, and Nathan Graham was only a second behind Reagan Carty at that point. So now Nathan's in the catbird seat. We'll see if Reagan Carty can run him back down, but Nathan Graham's got a 6-second lead over Reagan Carty at the moment. So, but yeah, Jacob, I was watching Sammy Joseph go through that traffic, and I was like, holy moly, he is just taking no prisoners. Whether it's GTPs or GT3s, he's just shoving it in there, and finally it just didn't work out.
Joseph, I believe, may have towed to the pits just then, as he disconnected and reconnected. Reagan Carty in the background of this battle with Austin Cobb and Derek Tierums once again back to each other as they're practically bumper to bumper, 30 seconds ahead of Daniel Schmall in the third spot for the GT3 field. We said this was going to be the battle for the lead, and it's shaping up to be the battle for the win, even though we haven't even reached halfway yet.
Yeah, you can see Tierums pushing that Corvette down the straightaway. Corvette defending there on the inside. Well, it looks like maybe just letting Reagan Carty by on the outside there in the GTP. But now that's going to throw that Corvette down the inside, and looks like Tierums is going to have the advantage going into the S's here in the McLaren. So Tierums back up front for the moment. So what a heck of a pass there.
Tierums pushed a little wide. That allowed the Corvette of Cobb to get back to the inside, and I think that has that sealed this battle for now, as they have come out to about, it's almost 0.4 of a second between Tierums and Cobb now.
Yeah, as we're watching them head down into the final couple of corners here, but what a great job by these two guys. Just great battles all over the track tonight. We've some great battles in the GTP and also in the GT3 field here. So, and these guys, Cobb was able to get it done in the pits, had a much faster stop than Tierums did, but Tierums back on the loud pedal now and able to get back by his teammate there, Cobb, and going to try to outrun him, but I don't know that they can. These guys have been stuck to each other all night.
They routinely put on a great battle every time they're next to each other. We've seen it in almost every race that we've seen from the GT3s. Especially with the GTPs get around them, it ends up being that one little edge for the one to get around the other, as there was a little bit of a wiggle from Tierums out of the exit of the corner there. Cobb right back on the back bumper. Might think of a move into the middle sector here. Thinks better of it, tucks back up behind.
Yep, just going to follow for now. There's still quite a bit of time in this race. We're not even to the halfway point. I can't believe it, but normally we're counting down. We got 10 minutes to go, and everybody's turning up the wick. But right now, the only person that really had the wick turned up really high, I guess, on super loud, that was Sammy Joseph. And Sammy Joseph paid the price for that. Watching these two drivers back at the GTP field, it doesn't look like we have too many battles going on right now. I can tell you that Reagan Carty has gained about a second, 1.2 on our leader Nathan Graham after that incident that he had with Sammy Yosef. So he is starting to run down Nathan Graham, but Nathan Graham, you know, the nice thing about being in the lead, you can kind of control the pace. So
you can decide that you want to run away with it, or you can just take your time and coast. Don't put too much stress on the tires or burn as much fuel, and just make sure that you're running your race while everybody else is forced to run theirs.
Absolutely. Looking at our leaders still, once again, Derek Tierhams and Austin Cobb. Derek Tierhams, I don't believe, has won a race yet this season. He won last season. Very fast driver, so I know he's fully capable. Cobb has got a race win. He's got a couple race wins. He's won at Suzuka and Imola, so very fast driver in his own right, but I'm sure Tierhams would like to get that first win. Last season, we seen Tierhams in the Lamborghini. This season, we're seeing him run the McLaren, so looks like he's having a little bit of success out there tonight here at Silverstone. Doing a great job there over his teammate there. It looks like Cobb's going to take a look at the inside. It's a tough place to do it. And you always have the advantage if you're on the outside with momentum there, and it looks like Tierhams is going to be able to hold him off for now.
And in keeping up with Cobb making a move back to the outside to try and fake out Tierhams as we get through the middle sector once again. The thing that Tierhams has proven is that he can put together winning runs. It's just one single mistake every time that has put him at a disadvantage or put him out of the top 5 or top 10 altogether. And we're seeing a really good race out of both of these guys right now.
Just looking at the stats here, it looks like Sedarius Days just got black flag for something. It probably has to do with track limits. Currently running in 24th on pit lane, serving that black flag penalty there. As we're looking through the windshield of Austin Cobb there at that teammate at that McLaren. He'd surely like to get back by. Very complex section of the track, Maggots and Beckett's. And then headed down here, Hanger Straight, and then we'll go into the last couple of corners here into the chicane. See if he can outbrake him in here. But so far, I think he's content for the moment. And we seen him last time his teammate got by, when Tierhams got by, just perfectly content to ride behind and maybe wait for that mistake. And he probably knows that he's fast on the pit stops, and if he can do it right in the future. And then Tierhams makes a mistake there in the chicane. That's going to allow Cobb to get on the outside. We're going to go through the next corner across the start-finish line. Cobb out wide. Cobb trying to hang on, and he does. So Cobb is going to take that position. And, yeah, great job. So as I was talking about that, I said he was content riding behind there, but apparently he wasn't. But that was just a mistake that Tierhams made there, and it looks like Tierhams is going to fight his way back there on the outside.
And I'm not going to take the blame on this one, because that didn't end his race. That wasn't a commentator's curse. That was just a momentary lapse of judgment. Derek Tierhams is still very much in the contention to win this thing as long as he hangs out with Austin Cobb, and there's still 0.3 of a second within each other. Tierhams, he's on the back foot right now, but we still have an hour and change and another pit stop to make. So I think he's still very much got a hand in this one.
Yeah, I think we have maybe even 2 stops yet to make. So being with this 2-hour race, especially for the GTP field, looking back at our leaders at GTP, Nathan Graham still continues to lead this thing with a 5.6 second lead over Reagan Carty. And as I said before, you remember that incident that Reagan Carty got hit in the rear quarter there, sent him back. But, at the time, Nathan Graham was only a second behind him. So Nathan Graham was running Reagan Carty down. So, you never know. Nathan Graham might be in this position as it was. It's kind of fun seeing these two guys battle. Reagan Carty having to deal with some heat right now. And also have to deal with somebody else's mistake that he's going to have to collect it and get back up there.
Yes, indeed. Carty is fighting his way, trying to scratch and claw that 5 seconds back from Nathan Graham. Graham was in the perfect position while that incident was happening to be able to capitalize and stretch out that lead as much as he could. And that lead is very slowly creeping ever slowly closer from Carty to Graham.
What a fun race here. You know, I'd love to be out on the track with these guys right now. Oh, and Reagan Carty get pushed off a second that last lap, but it might all had to do with where these guys are catching traffic. So one of the things about multi-class racing, you can't always go by lap times because these guys are dealing with a lot of traffic right now. But Nathan Graham gave up some time. And just looking at the clock here, we're almost to the halfway point, and I believe Nathan Graham came in about the 32-minute mark, somewhere in there. So a little bit past halfway, I imagine we'll see Nathan Graham come in for another pit stop. He's going to have to come in a couple laps sooner than Reagan Carty did. And another thing about Reagan Carty, he was very good on fuel mileage at Suzuka. I remember him really being able to stretch out fuel mileage. One of the last GTPs to pit, and he did it again here tonight, one of the last GTPs to pit. So Reagan Carty's very good on fuel mileage. Nathan Graham might be very good on speed, as we're watching Jamie Lipke get service on that prototype.
Yep, first one to take the second stop in their class. Meanwhile, big news out of the GT3 field. Daniel Schmall, our third place runner, has a black flag for incidents, so that's going to put him on the back foot trying to get back into this one, and it's going to hand the third spot to Timbo Parker.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks where track limits are very important. You got to mind your track limits or it'll set you back, and he's going to have to come in and serve a drive-through. So having a solid night out there. Currently running in that third position, but Timbo Parker, he's a little bit back there. It looks like, just looking at the relative here, looks like I need my glasses, about 3 seconds back. Yeah, so that is going to be some work to claw his way back up to that third position.
Yep, when Schmall comes in to serve that penalty, Parker in that really nice looking Sunburst car, contrary to I think he was running a Spider-Man livery for the earlier races. He actually got like really nice TWR paint on that car. Yeah, he's going to put himself in a better position on track, and Schmall's going to want to run him back down.
Yeah, he's started exactly where he is right now, currently running in that fourth position. So Timbo having a solid night so far. I'm glad he can inherit in position. I'm sure he's thinking to himself, well, I didn't have to work for that one. He's got, you can see Daniel Schmall headed to serve that black flag. And I believe this is only a drive-through, so he won't have to head to pit lane. Just get that drive-through served and get back out on track.
Watching the slow roll through the entirety of the pit lane, serves that drive-through, gets past the pit lane, the limiter, and now we just saw Parker come into frame there. He's going to be right in the mix of this battle. Parker's going to be right in the mix of this battle for the third spot. Schmall's going to hold on to it for now, but that puts the gap to second at 52 seconds, all the way up to Derek Tierums, as Jamie Lipke has a penalty as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this is about. Maybe the same thing. More a limits problem here. Going to have to come in and probably do a drive-through here. Lots of problems for these drivers out here tonight. We're watching her head to pit lane and serve this penalty. Obviously, if she does the drive-through, then it is for incident limits. I believe they're allowed. I didn't check on a 2-hour race. Usually the incident penalties are raised, but I don't know that our race control does that even on these longer races. So might be 17 points. They have to serve a drive-through, and it can be pretty painful. At least these guys have pit limiters where you can hit the pit limiter and just stand on the gas and drive through, and you don't have to feel impatient about it. But it's always nerve-wracking when you don't have that limiter. If you're in a stock car or something like that and you're doing a drive-through penalty, it's very easy to get caught on speeding on pit lane, as well as the other problems that you're having for the night.
And other problems may have just been answered for Jamie Lipke. They're having a mechanical issue with their wheel, which might have led to that track limits violation and put them a little bit further back. Back up at the front, Nathan Graham passing the start-finish line now, as he is back in the.
Where he was.
Is this going into this is going to the S's, right? I got faked out. That's the old layout of the track. The start-finish line used to be on that straightaway leading up to Cops way back. and now he's going into Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel under the Hanger Straight. And I'm looking at this. I keep looking at this track map, man, and I can't figure out where we're at. And I think I've always had an issue with this when I'm playing the F1 games or watching the F1 race. It's a lot easier to follow when you're just looking at it from like an overhead view, but everything just looks the same no matter where you're at on track. And I think that's really confusing for some of our drivers.
When I'm driving, I usually know where I'm at, but when I'm out here in the booth, it is hard to tell where you're at here at Silverstone. A lot of it looks the same. We're watching Joshua Jackson here continue his march up front, currently running in the 4th position, trying to latch onto a podium spot here, going by the lap car of DJ Patterson. And you can see Timbo Parker just back there in that Porsche, going to have to work on DJ Patterson too. Like I said, DJ Patterson in that gray McLaren between these two drivers. And Timbo Parker looking for a way around. You know, we haven't talked about Timbo Parker too much all season, but has a really strong showing here tonight, running in the top 5.
I know he's got at least one podium this season, and Joshua Jackson getting past Parker for 4th was that's his 10th position gained on the race, Joshua Jackson. So he is putting together some heaters to try and get back up into the podium spots as we are just about to reach halfway.
Yeah, and Joshua, he's got, like you said, an hour left in this race, 7 seconds behind Daniel Schmall, who's currently in that last podium spot. As we're watching, I want to say, Sammy Yosef, is he back on track? Yes, he is. Sammy Yosef, with the issues he's had with the disconnect, is back out there on the track, currently running the last prototype in the field in the 8th position right now. He just got by Joshua Jackson. Joshua Jackson really hard on the brakes. That allowed Timbo Parker to close it back in. But yeah, Sammy Yosef out there going to try to maybe now is his time that he's going to get that practice in there, Jacob.
If everybody's getting together very close on this one, taking a look at Kyle Deering and on a Softic further back in the field.
I know if I see that silver bullet coming behind me, I'm getting the heck out of the way after tonight. So I see that Samuel machine coming. I'm going to just like slide out of the way. There you go, Samuel. You can have it.
I wouldn't go far. I wouldn't go so far as to say that necessarily. He's just been having some.
No, I'm just
making
just
some
saying
bad.
He's having a rough night.
He's having a rough night, making some bad moves. He can come back next week and make up for it. Maybe lay off a little bit. And this battle is for the 13th spot. And on a Softic.
Yeah, Softic was there, and then he wasn't. And then he's there, and then he wasn't. So anyway, he's going to look on the outside of Kyle Deering there. So Kyle Deering's going to give him the position there, and he's going to get by there for the 13th position there. So Honest doing a great job out there.
And making all sorts of 4D moves. And on a Softic was a topic of conversation on a previous week's Goat Talk. And to tell you a little bit about Goat Talk Live is a weekly podcast and live show hosted by our very own Eddie Smith and Patrick Drabick. This is a production of Above the Yellow Line Media, which focuses on league motorsports and veteran and first responder community stories. And you can catch that Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern on Above the Yellow Line.
Yeah, great show. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think I've seen something. It's not going to be happening this week, but I'm sure it'll be back next week. So, but always great to check out and watch here as we're watching our leader right there. It looks like Nathan Graham getting by some traffic.
That's to the pit lane.
Oh, yeah, that's the pit cycles are happening, I guess.
Yep, Graham was the first one. He was the first one to come down for the GT3s this last pit cycle, so he is definitely going to be the first one down this time. Reagan Carty is going to re-inherit the lead on this one now and try to step away and hopefully get more of a gap to Graham than he did before.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised he wasn't able to run down Graham as much as I thought. So it's going to be interesting, the fuel mileage, how this is all going to play out. These GTPs are going to have to make at least one more stop. Well, actually, both cars, I imagine we'll see the GT3s here in the next 10 minutes. So I think both series are going to have to end up on pit lane one more time. So Nathan's probably looking at that. Maybe he's broken up the stops the way he has for a reason. Maybe 3 or 4 equal stops. Reagan going for the fuel mileage and maybe no tires on the last stop because he saved the most fuel. That might be the strategy that these two drivers are looking at.
Graham is up and away, 42 seconds back to Reagan Carty, but the advantage is yet to be seen because Carty still has to make a pit stop. We're going to see it probably within the next 2 laps. Meanwhile, Joshua Jackson under fire still from Timbo Parker for that 4th spot in the GT3s.
Yeah, Timbo doing a great job trying to hang on to Joshua there after he got around him. So both those Porsches really quick out there tonight. Both of them would like to catch up to Daniel Schmall, who's about 11 seconds in front of him. They still got an hour to do it, though. Daniel Schmall, another one of those drivers we haven't talked about too much, just quietly running that BMW up there in that 3rd position all night long. Started behind our leaders. Has fallen off a little bit there, but still doing a great job out there. Just been really quiet. We haven't really, like I said, we haven't talked about him. He hasn't found himself in any kind of trouble or anything like that. Just running his own race. And if you're going to run your own race, Silverstone is the place to do it.
Outside of that penalty for the track, the cumulative incident points that put him a little bit further back. He has been holding on to that 3rd spot since the start of this race, with Tierums and Cobb still fighting up front.
So Nathan Graham there, I'm just looking at the gap there. So it's going to be interesting to see what, we're back to the leaders of the GT3 field. I forgot about these two guys for a minute. We've been talking about a lot of other drivers here, but these two guys still following each other's tire tracks there. Cobb leading it at the moment. Tierums behind. Tierums was really aggressive there, getting by his teammate earlier on. It's like Cobb's re-inherited that 1st place position. Like I said, Tierums would like to get his first race win of the season here tonight and be pretty proud of it here, doing it at Silverstone especially.
Yep, needs to just continue to be joined at the hip all throughout this racetrack. Not getting too close because they found out what happened with that at Red Bull Ring earlier this season. Tierums might have tried to make a move there, but thinks better of it and decides to latch onto the back of the Corvette as they make their way through the middle sector once again.
Yeah, I noticed Cobb likes to take an early entry there on that last corner, and where Tierums will like to run to the outside. Tierums is running the line I like to run here at Silverstone. Cobb running a little bit different line, but that could be due to the different manufacturers there. Like I said, one in the Corvette, one in the McLaren. Maybe handles a little bit different. We are running open setup, so these guys are allowed to make changes to whatever they need to do on their setup to make it handle more appropriately. Past few seasons, we were running fixed setups where everybody had the same setup. But, with different car manufacturers, you didn't really know how that was going to affect the cars until you got to the track you were running at. And some cars tended to have a pretty big advantage. But I think with the open setups, it kind of equaled things out.
Yep, everything's kind of hit sort of equilibrium as we're seeing from the drivers of the Corvette and the McLaren right here, and the Jaime Murrietta's Porsche as well, just tearing up the first few races of this season. And we're still watching both of these guys.
Yeah, we're talking about Jaime Murrieta, and we're missing Brendan McDonald too. So giving both those drivers a shout out. So Brendan McDonald, really fast in the GTP field, and then Jaime Murrieta, I believe it is. Also had a couple of race wins here this season. Neither one of those drivers are here tonight. And, this is going to be heavily impact those two drivers too, because this is a double points night too. So along with it being a 2-hour race, it's, these guys that are showing up here are getting double the points. So you're going to really fall back. And we don't have a chase format in the sports car series, so it's all based on points. So some of these guys are leaving a lot of points on the table by not being here tonight.
Yes, indeed. And it really doesn't help, especially in the GT3 series, as we're seeing right now. Austin Cobb is your leader, and if he wins, that's double win points for him, and he's already the points leader. As we're watching Reagan Carty make his stop right now, 50 seconds, Nathan Graham is behind to him. Carty going to make that slow roll down the pit lane into his box, and we're going to see how big that deficit is to Graham when he comes out.
Yeah, and I think Graham has got a nice run here. If you remember, that was a 40-some second stop for Graham. So Reagan Carty's really going to have a decent pit stop. I think he's actually going to be further behind when this is all said and done. Looking at Nathan Graham right now coming down Hanger Straight into the final chicane. I don't know. Maybe this is going to be closer than I think. Looking at his car right now. This is the final chicane here. He'll be headed to the last couple of corners here before he gets across the start-finish line. Reagan Carty still...
Something to note, Carty was able to gain a few seconds over Graham after Graham made his stop. Carty coming out of the pits, 5 seconds to Nathan Graham. It's going to be real close when they come out.
Yeah, now Carty's going to have those cold tires. It's going to take 3 or 4 laps for those tires to get warmed up. And I do believe, Nathan Graham is going to be there here in the next lap. So Nathan Graham 2.5 seconds behind and slowly closing in. So Nathan Graham's got a little bit more heat in those tires, able to go run down Reagan, but that was a heck of a stop by Reagan.
Yeah, Reagan very frantically trying to get some heat in those tires as they make their way down the Wellington Straight onto Brooklands, through Brooklands with that long sweeping left arcing completely around Luffield into Woodcott onto the old starting straight.
Yeah, Nathan closed in another second there. He's a 1.5 seconds behind now. So I imagine by the time we get to the final chicane here, Nathan Graham is going to be there. And the question is he going to be able to capitalize? So it's still going to take another lap or so for Reagan Carty to get those tires up. As we're headed down into the S's, he's already closed that gap up even closer. So he's going to be there on the exit here of Maggots and Beckett's. And we'll see what happens here. You can see right now, nose to tail, going to have the aero advantage as well. Reagan Carty trying to get that car up. You can see him dart that car to the inside there, trying to get those tires warmed up. Going to force Nathan maybe to the outside there. They do have some traffic coming up there. You got Timbo Parker just ahead of him. Oh, Reagan Carty overshoots there, those cold tires. And Nathan's just going to inherit that spot easily.
He was just doing too much, but that might have presented an issue. Further up, as Graham gets caught up behind Timbo Parker, ends up getting held up behind the Porsche. That brings Carty right back into it as they get into the start straight. Graham has to wrench it back to get past the Porsche, and we have all straightened out onto the front straightaway into the first corner. Carty now getting around Parker to try and fight back toward that lead.
Yeah, Nathan did not want to see that. Now Nathan's dealing with some more GT3 traffic. He's like, God, I just got ahead of Carty. I need to make these warm tires work for me. But now Carty is almost to the back door there of Nathan Graham. And now Nathan gets by Joshua Jackson there. And just trying to clear traffic there has been a problem for Nathan Graham, and really lost some time. And that's allowing Reagan Carty to get some heat in those tires and maybe to keep that gap.
Carty was just doing too much trying to get heat in the tires the first time, but that may have just bought him the moment he needed. Graham loose on exit of the corner there. Carty now able to get back to just try and get back in his tire tracks on the old start straight, back down through Cops.
You know what Nathan Graham would like to do is maybe open that gap up. It still needs to get some heat in those tires for Reagan Carty. So if he can open up this gap a little bit in the S's here, might be able to keep him from gaining that draft, but it doesn't look like he can do it. Reagan Carty holding on strong, only loses 1/10 of a second, 2/10 of a second, just behind there, getting through the S's. So I believe that Reagan Carty's almost got those tires warmed up and is going to be able to keep pace with Nathan.
Well, what we saw earlier is Graham was able to keep a decent margin per lap over Carty when we were in that first stint. That second stint when Graham was able to get ahead of Carty after the mishap that happened with Yosef, it took a lot for Carty to try and make up that time. He wasn't able to completely, but now that Carty's within that second, it might be a different story, because Carty's going to have to push to try and get back to that 0.5.
Yeah, well, he is basically pushing. He's gained another couple of tenths of a second here. So I think those tires have equalized now. So these guys are back to racing each other, although Nathan Graham's going to have a little bit less fuel in the tank, so maybe a little bit better on corner exit here. But I don't know, Reagan Carty is a very strong driver himself. And, he's probably driving with a little bit of heat in that wheel after dealing with Samuel Yosef with that incident earlier. So really sees now Nathan Graham ahead of him there and really wants that position back, but now he's going to get caught up in some GT3 traffic. Got John Hoshin there, going to hold up Reagan Carty just a little bit there. Nowhere for really Hochin to go, or Hochin. And now Reagan Carty gets by on the outside there.
Everybody is able to make it. Everybody able to make it cleanly through there, and more news out of the GT3 field. Daniel Schmall has disconnected from that third place position, moving Joshua Jackson up another spot into the podium places, and Timbo Parker is just behind him.
Yeah, so those guys are going to be battling hard. If Timbo can get back up to Joshua Jackson, that ought to be quite the race here. Still watching our two leaders there. Nathan Graham able to hold off, got a 1.2 second gap over Reagan Carty after dealing with the lap traffic there, John Houchin there. And I keep saying Houchin. I got to get better at saying Houchin, so I apologize there, John. I'm covering for you. I'm learning here. So, but doing a great job out there. John Houchin running in the 8th place position in the GT3 field. But this is turning out to be quite a battle here.
Yes, indeed. Joshua Jackson inheriting that third spot from the unfortunate disconnected Daniel Schmall, and might have another unfortunate disconnect as Timbo Parker is phasing in and out of reality, trying to fight for that spot in that Porsche, trying to fight with the other Porsche for the third spot. This is the closest battle on the GT3 field as we stand right now.
Yeah, well, at least the disconnect won't be for maybe off tracks or something like that. Timbo Parker is just having some mechanical issues, as we like to call it here in iRacing. Sometimes your connections aren't that solid, and you hate to see it. You're having a great race, and all of a sudden you start flickering in and out, and you're like, oh, please, God. Oh, we got it. We got a battle for the lead in the GTP field here. We got Reagan Carty all over the back of Nathan Graham right now. Really putting some heat on. I don't know where that second half he made up, but that happened quick here. He's got those tires warmed up, headed down to the back here, headed towards Maggots here. We'll see what he can do here.
I think it has something to do with them getting around the lap car of Brandon Wallace just then, and Reagan Carty is right back there. You can see that nose of the Cadillac just trying to get as close as he can to Graham, unsettle him in through the corners. But they're just keeping that same gap, same momentum through every section of the race. As this is down Wellington Straight into. That wasn't Wellington Straight. I'm looking like they can be anywhere at this point on track, and they'd still be within a quarter of a second of each other, fighting for this spot.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing here. Is they're coming across the front stretch here down by pit lane. And this is where we took the green flag at the start of this race over an hour ago, an hour and 15 minutes.
I've already forgotten that.
These guys are still nose to tail here. And, I mean, you got to hand it to it. We're, like I said, we're an hour and 15 minutes in, and we've got a battle for both in the GT3 field and the GTP field.
Yep, both sets of leaders just fighting tooth and nail to get as close as they can to put themselves in a good position. And Carty gets a great run out of that section there. Graham's got the inside advantage right now, but Carty can try and switch it back as they make it through Brooklands and onto Luffield. They got a lot of traffic in front of them. We might see a pass for the lead here.
Yeah, these guys in front of them are all battling for position too, so neither one of these guys want to give it up. You can see Nathan Graham going to split that traffic there. Both of them flashing the lights. They were able to get through it pretty cleanly, especially considering they were all battling there. That was Billy Sigmund, Chase Barkas, and Brock Price that they got around. But going through the Maggots, Beckett's, and down into the final straightaway here on Hanger Straight. And Nathan Graham doing all he can to hang on to the lead and try to make it to this next pit stop. And I think Nathan knows that Reagan Carty had that faster stop, so he's really going to have to pull out a good stop on the last stop of this race.
Graham and Carty still under a blanket as they roll through the corners here. Carty having to back it off a little bit so he didn't make contact with Graham. And speaking of pit stops, Derek Tierums makes his pit stop from second. He's the first GT3 in.
Yeah, and he was falling back from Austin Cobb, I was noticing there, so he had dropped back a second or two from his teammate there. But we're still watching this great battle here as they get by Timothy Wilms there in the 5th place of the GT3 field. So Timothy Wilms going another lap down to the prototypes, but that's to be expected here. These prototypes are bad fast and doing a great job here. Nathan Graham would surely like Reagan Carty to make another mistake, but no. it looks like Reagan Carty now has got the advantage on the inside. Nathan Graham's really going to have to get a good exit here, and he does. They're going to race down here into the next corner, and it looks like Reagan Carty's going to have the advantage here. Yeah, Nathan's going to have to fall in behind.
He had that outside. He had that momentum to the inside. Now he's got the full line through the exit of Luffield and Woodcott on the old start straight. Graham tucking in behind, trying to get up to the back end of Carty once again, and he is gaining less than a quarter second between them now.
And they got a lap prototype. Oh! That was Jason Kristen that almost Reagan Carty got into the back of. I think Jason was just getting out of the gas to let him by, and almost gets into the back of him. They go through the exit, the S's here, and still holding on. Nathan Graham now is got a new sight picture here, going to focus in on where Reagan Carty is weak.
Bearing in mind both of these guys likely will have to make another stop before the end of this. Graham at the disadvantage, because if Carty is able to save a little bit more fuel, he might be able to stretch it out just enough to get past.
Yeah, and that very well could be the case. I'm not sure what the tire difference is between fuel and tires. I think with 65%, you're right. Reagan Carty's going to have to take less fuel.
Oh. Almost ended that battle right then and there. Nathan Graham with a big wiggle out of club corner, and now they're continuing through the middle sector, and he's dropped a little bit of time to Carty, but he's still keeping him honest, still within 0.6 of a second of the leader.
Yeah, he needs to keep the pressure up and maybe try to force Reagan into a mistake and not make any mistakes like he just did himself. Just going to have to keep pressure on because he knows that Reagan is fast and got that little bit of fuel advantage at the moment. Just keep the pressure on and maybe he can make a mistake. And I can tell you that Reagan Carty, right on that first corner after Hanger Straight, this is where he seems to be his weakest. So it's where he sends that prototype in a little bit harder than everyone else. And, so the chance is there. They're going by, it looks like Joshua Jackson there, our third place GT3 driver. Both drivers get by cleanly. Oh, Nathan Graham almost goes wide there, almost earned himself a slowdown there, but I think he was able to keep it green. But he is maybe driving hard, trying to keep it back there. Also, Reagan Carty's got a little bit fresher tires on that machine as well.
Yep, Graham having dropped a little bit of time to Carty there, and I think these two are still fighting as hard as they can to try and keep with it. Like Graham is still fighting as hard as he can to keep within we stretched out a little bit. We're a second and a quarter. I think we need to calm down a little bit, reassess, and then get back into it once we know that we can make it.
Well, speaking of making it, I guess I missed something there, but speaking of making it, I was thinking of not Reagan Carty, but Austin Cobb there and Derek Tiram, so the two teammates. Derek Tiram came in a couple of laps ago, get his service done, and he came in with 40 minutes to go. So I can't imagine that he would come in unless he thought he could make it to the end. His teammate Austin Cobb is still out there, got quite a lead over Derek Tiram's at the moment, so I imagine we'll see Austin Cobb on pit lane at any moment, but I see no reason why that driver would be on there. As we're watching the two drivers come back together, is Jamie Lipke and Sammy Yosef. Sammy Yosef, I don't believe is currently on the same lap. Yeah, by George, he is. I guess these drivers have both had issues tonight, so we're looking at the 7th and 8th position there. Sammy Yosef, Jamie Lipke back together once again.
Yep, this is the rubber match. This is, I want to say, it's at least the third time these two have come close to each other, because Yosef turned Lipke the first time. Lipke got past as Yosef made the mistake made contact with the leader the second time. And this one's for all the marbles. This is for the 7th spot in the GTP field. Yosef looking to the inside there and just thinks better of it. Makes a dive to the inside of Lipke on the corner. Lipke going to try for the switchback. No, as Yosef gets past and is going to start to try and pull away as they get onto the start straightaway.
Yeah, well, there's two drivers that didn't want to see Sammy Joseph back on the track. One of those being Jamie Lipke and the other being Regan Carty. So, Regan Carty's going to maybe have to deal with Sammy Joseph one more time here tonight as they're going by some lap traffic that's on his Softic in the red BMW there. Both those drivers get by cleanly, but we'll see what Jamie can do there. Now, taking a look at the inside, back on the inside of Sammy Joseph. I think these guys just want some TV time at the moment. Almost get together there. We're going to head down into, I think this is Williams.
Oh, contact! Made some door contact. Lipke on the inside relents the position to Joseph as these two once again getting into it.
Yeah, the race stewards are going to have a talk with these two maybe at the end of the race, the way they're going at it. So you wouldn't think this is a 2-hour race and with 40 minutes left to go on it, but you think this is the last lap the way these two drivers have been driving each other all night. As we're finally watching our leader of the GT3 field get his service done. So the question is where he's going to come out over Derek Tierams. Now, he did have a faster stop the last time than Derek Tierams. Looking at Derek Tierams going through the last set of chicanes, definitely going to beat his teammate out by quite a bit there this time. Austin Cobb back out on track. And Derek Tierams now just getting past the start-finish line, heading into the quick right-hander and into that next set of turns.
Nathan Graham penalty, likely for incident points for off tracks, and that I think is going to seal it, barring a miracle, because the next closest car is Elijah Toth, a minute and 41 seconds behind Nathan Graham just here.
I wouldn't say seal it, because I'll tell you two things. One thing, Sammy Joseph is still out on the track. So Regan Carty's going to have to deal with that. Regan Carty hasn't been incident-free all night long himself. So anything out there could happen. I don't want to count Nathan Graham out just yet, but I guarantee you that Regan Carty's watching this pit stop happen and he's thinking to himself, maybe he knows he got a black flag, maybe he doesn't, maybe he thinks this is part of the pit strategy, but I don't think you can go. It was right on the edge there. So 35 minutes, I think, is what these GTPs can make it. But this really, this is really hurtful to Nathan Graham having to do this long drive-through penalty. Looks like he's going by Sammy Joseph there on pit lane, getting his service done.
Yeah, this is a worst-case scenario for Nathan Graham because he needs to make a stop here soon, and we have another shakeup. For this time for the GT3 field, Derek Tierams with a black flag for incident points, and that's going to throw a branch in the battle for the GT3 lead as well.
Yeah, a lot of off tracks out here tonight is really eating these guys up, and this is where you're letting the track beat you. You always got to race the track first, and before you race your opponents. And it's so easy to go over the incident points here as we're watching them bring that McLaren down the pit road entry here, getting that thing slowed down. He's going to serve his drive-through, and it's really a terrible thing for him because he just made probably his final pit stop, and now he's having to come on pit lane again and just go down and trickle down at this very slow speed to serve that drive-through, and is probably going to lose that position to Joshua Jackson. Joshua Jackson now looks like he's in the final chicane. Yeah, so it's going to be close whether he can hang on to the second place. Joshua Jackson now coming up on the front stretch here.
Joshua Jackson is a minute and 31 seconds behind Tierams here. So Tierams is going to have a decent buffer to the car behind. I think he's well locked up a podium spot for himself.
Those guys put on such a clinic, I didn't realize that they were that far ahead.
I'm inclined to agree with you. I've been focused so much on the cars, I wasn't paying attention to a lot of the gaps in timing. Like we've been seeing close battles all over, and they've almost always been for position with all of the cars involved. Meanwhile, Billy Sigmund running in the 5th spot, just having gone a lap down to our leader Austin Cobb. Just running a race that it's been mistake free for the most part, and he's fighting off the 710 of Chase Barkas just behind.
Yeah, I'm interested in how many incident points he has on the radar right now, but like you said, he's been for the most part mistake free, and he's had a pretty good battle with his teammate most of the race. back there with Tierums, but now he's able to run out there solo. He gets by Billy Sigmund and Chase Barkas now just behind him there, both a lap down now at this point. But Billy Sigmund having a solid night in that 5th position in that white and green BMW back there. And
That's
you
a
can
nice
see
looking car.
yeah, you can see Chase Barkas just behind him.
Oh,
And we got a Porsche off on the grass there. almost camouflaged there. Green Porsche in the green grass.
it was. I think that might have been Mike Swartzen. Yep, Mike Swartzen in the green Porsche. He's got a black flag for incidents, and saw him try and make his way, just keep himself out of harm's way there.
Well, you know what helps you to keep from getting incident points, and that's a very fast computer. And you know where you can get a fast computer? That's Alexander PCs. Alexander PCs is a custom and gaming PC builder who has been building and modding systems since 2002. They're veteran-owned and operated, and a family business, and all the team members support. Boy, I can't. I guess this race has been too long. I can't even get through my read. They're veteran-owned and operated family business, and all the team members support production are U.S.-based. All desktop PCs come with an industry-best lifetime limited warranty service guarantee. Work, play, conquer. Alexander PCs. And I got to tell you, I went there and looked at their PCs. They do an awesome job of setting you up with a proper PC for like iRacing, for example, Battlefield. Anything that you can throw at these machines, Alexander PC can take care of you. And what's great about it is being veteran owned and operated as well.
Yep, they provide the PCs for the sim rigs that Goat Locker gives out to disabled veterans in the state of Indiana. Meanwhile, Reagan Carty still stretching that lead over Nathan Graham. Graham having had that penalty earlier, and we are within the last 30 minutes of this race.
Yeah, I imagine Nathan's going to have to come in to pit road any time now to get that last service done on that machine. So these GTPs are still not out of the woods here yet. Anything can happen. We're currently watching Reagan Carty continue to lead this thing with nearly a 25-second lead, crossing the start-finish line here. And like I said, Reagan Carty's also been very good on fuel. It's just, how many incident points do some of these drivers had? We talked about Austin Cobb leading the GT3 field. How many incident points does he have? He's got some breathing room. All he has to do is focus on the track. And same thing with Reagan Carty. Really just needs to focus on the track. Nathan Graham's going to push really hard and try to get Reagan Carty to look at that relative, maybe make a mistake, but it's going to be a hard pull for Nathan unless Reagan Carty ends up doing the same thing.
That is the key word, mistake, because that can throw away everything that you've built up to this point. We've gone 1.5 times the normal length of the races that we've seen so far. We still got another half of a race to go, essentially, so you got to keep the mistakes to a minimum. Just run your race and just make it to the end at this point.
Yeah, and I haven't seen Reagan Carty make too many mistakes. We've seen him, have some corner entry problems on a couple of corners, but other than that incident with the other GTP on the field there, really has been pretty much mistake-free. But like I said, you just have those simple off tracks here and there. You cut a corner, you get a 1x, a 1 point knock to your score there, and you get over that limit. Next thing you know, you're serving a drive-through penalty. And the thing about it is when you're serving a drive-through penalty, you can't get your service done. Otherwise, the penalty doesn't get served. So it's kind of a double whammy. And Reagan Carty's still going to have to make another pit stop on top of that. So if he makes gets too many incident points and has to serve a drive-through, then he's going to have to turn around and then come in for his final service of the race as well.
You've got to be careful of that. Taking a look at the 12th running GT3 of Brandon Wallace chasing down DJ Patterson and the McLaren just ahead. This is for the 11th spot. We haven't talked a lot about the back half of this GT3 field, but they've been kind of close to each other for majority of this race. And for some of these drivers, it's a lot of the action that we've seen. This is the first action that they've seen all race in terms of a position battle, but it gives us a chance to highlight some of the other drivers that we don't get to talk about too often.
Well, I can tell you, Brandon Wallace was obviously having some excitement on his own, because if you look at the front of that Porsche, there is quite a bit of damage there on the front clip there. You can see it as he goes through the corners here. So he does have a speed deficit there. It shouldn't hurt the handling maybe too much. Maybe, well, these high-speed S's is kind of going to be hard on it. But Brandon definitely trying to catch up to DJ Patterson. DJ Patterson was having a solid night. Was having a solid night. Currently running in the 11th position. I was actually just going back to see where DJ started. Started in 19th. Well, that's with the field there. So basically down one position from where he started there.
Yeah, Patterson still keeping that McLaren together. Doesn't look like they've had much of an eventful night tonight, and they're just running their race like you need to. You just manage how long this race is compared to the other ones that you've run, and just take it easy for a majority of it. And taking a look further back, Brandon Wallace cedes the track position. It looks like the 70 of Joshua Jackson is starting to come up on the back of Patterson here now as well.
Yeah, you can see Brandon Wallace about, we're looking at Timothy Wilms, actually. Timothy Wilms there, currently running in the 8th position there in that black and white BMW, going through the S's, sliding that thing back and forth. This is just a tough section of the track. Like I said at the top of the broadcast, it's a set of corners I spent a lot of time trying to master as he's going down Hanger Straight there. But, having a solid night there in that 8th position. So Timothy Wilms doing what he can to hang on to a top 10 here tonight.
Yep, overall quiet night. Again, we haven't spoken too much about him. He's just run his race. He's lost 3 positions from the start, but he hasn't put himself in any position to lose any more. Like, he's just kept himself consistent, kept running his line, and just run his race to the point that we're at now. And he's got I think it's a 1 minute 20-second gap to the position behind, so I think he's firmly locked in the top 10 here.
Looking at Brock Price here, running an Audi in the 9th position, so we're looking a little bit back further in the field here. Brock having a quiet night. We've seen him a couple of times getting mixed up in traffic. There was a 3-way battle going on earlier when we watched the GTPs go through. Getting here on the backstretch, headed into Maggots here, this series of S's here. As we look through his windshield here, trying to get this car nailed, and nailing these points with the right gear and getting the traction down and nailing this last corner is just so important. He's going to swing out. Looked like he was going to go wide, able to hang on to it. Goes down to Hanger Straight here for the final couple of corners. And we got Brian Provo now, or not Brian Provo, but Nathan Graham on pit roads for his final stop of the night. So,
oh my goodness. I'm sorry to cut you off, Ken. Reagan Carty has an incident penalty for off tracks. I spoke too soon, and we got a race once again.
So just as that happened, as I was mentioning, Nathan Graham on pit lane to get his final service in. So this is the thing that really is going to hurt Reagan Carty. So, just like Nathan Graham, he's going to have to make 2 stops. He's going to have to stop for this penalty, and then he's going to have to stop for service. So got 2 more stops before this race is over for Reagan Carty. So we'll have to see. Nathan Graham, I don't know that Nathan Graham knows that Reagan Carty's got a black flag at the moment. So Nathan's just going to have to push with what he knows. But when he sees that car go on to pit lane that second time, he's going to know something's up. And it's going to be interesting where these 2 guys come out.
And Reagan is stepping it out as fast as he can right now. Graham is out of his box and starting to get back to speed out of the pits. Carty going to have to make that pass through and likely going to have to take his stop immediately after. So Graham needs to get his heat in his tires and get going as fast as he can.
Well, we're watching him head down pit lane right now. Going to slam it in here as fast as he can. Get this drive-through served. Now, he can do it either way. He can get his service done right now, or he can get his drive-through served right now. We'll have to wait and see what he does here. I imagine he's just going to serve the drive-through and then come back the second time to get those tires and gas. But looking at Nathan Graham. So we're going to have to watch him go through the pit cycle twice before we can see where him and Nathan Graham actually shake out when this is all said and done.
Both of these drivers having put on an excellent race and an excellent show for everybody tonight. 20 minutes left, and it's all coming to a head right now. Carty out of the pits from the drive-through. Now he's going to have to make another lap around to get to the pit to his pit stall to try and take his final stop. He is 50 seconds over Nathan Graham right now. Is that going to be enough to hold him behind with Graham on fresh tires?
Yeah, it's going to be very close. We remember what happened last time. It was Nathan Graham. He's probably going to come out ahead of Nathan Graham, but Nathan Graham is going to have those warmed up tires where Reagan Carty's going to be out there on the low grip tires. And what Reagan Carty's got to be really careful of is, you got the adrenaline going. You know what you got to get done, and you're going to come out on those cold tires, and you're going to want to push. And if you remember, he made that mistake, pushed out wide when he was racing Nathan Graham earlier on cold tires. Will it happen again? So we'll see what happens. He can stay out there. We remember he's very good on fuel, so he's going to have to take less fuel probably than Nathan did. And he can maybe stay out there another lap or two before he'll have to make his stop. So we'll see if he can open up a little bit more of a gap before he makes his final pit stop of the night. And it's going to be critical of what decision he makes while he's on pit lane.
Also has to factor in what kind of traffic is he going to see when he gets out of the pits, because he is going to have to pull down here shortly. He is making it through that sweeping right-hander into the middle sector once again. This is the exit 2.
I just call it the final chicane, so I don't even look at the track map anymore. They're crossing the start-finish line.
Staying out.
Like I said, he can stay out a couple more laps. He's definitely handled the fuel strategy a little bit better than Nathan has, but Nathan is going to be on those warm tires. And we'll see, there's always a chance that Reagan Carty could overdrive this car, because he is going to be under a lot of pressure to perform here when he does come out on those cold tires. I imagine it'll be this time or next time for sure, but within the next 2 laps, he's going to have to pit that machine.
Yes, he is. Looks like he's catching up to the back end of Jamie Libke here, trying to put both of these cars ahead another lap down. It looks like Jamie Libke and Elijah Toth in the 3rd place of the GTP field, just ahead of our leader, just barely holding on to this lead lap right now. Carty's sweeping it through cops on his way through to the S's.
Yeah, Toth hasn't made his last stop of the evening either, so it's just amazing between the GT3 field and the GTP field. Just the top 2 guys of each series here just dominated this field, just putting all their class a lap down. So we'll see what Reagan does here, headed down here to Hanger Straight. This is going to be the entrance to pit road right after this right-hander here. We'll see if he comes in to get his final service of the night, and it looks like he's going to. And there you have it. So he's going to head in, get I'm really curious if he's going to take tires. I imagine he's going to. I think he knows he probably has a little bit of advantage over Nathan, but the one thing I was thinking about at the top of the broadcast or early in this race, the reason he was saving fuel so he didn't have to take tires on the last stop, but I think at this point he probably will. We'll see.
This is it. Carty on the slow run to his pit box. Nathan Graham very slowly making up that time. By the time Carty gets into his box, Graham is just under 35 seconds behind Reagan Carty. If Carty doesn't take tires here, do you think he's going to be able to keep in it for the last 18 minutes of this race?
Well, he is, because I could tell you that Nathan Graham is having all kinds of struggles trying to get around Samuel Yosef at the moment. So I'm watching Nathan Graham. He's coming up to the final chicane. Obviously, Reagan Carty's going to beat him. Sammy Yosef really held up Nathan Graham there. Nathan Graham now getting to the start-finish line, coming up to it anyway. So, yeah, had some issues there with some GT3 fields and one of the other GTPs there. So I'm sure Nathan, where Reagan Carty didn't really have to deal with any traffic, Nathan Graham certainly did, and that really held up his progress.
Reagan Carty, no tires on that stop against Nathan Graham with fresh tires on his. Fuel only for the 25 as he retains the lead, and he's got a 16-second gap over Graham.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting at how much those tires. I think he probably might be able to hold on, but we'll see. If Nathan can get, he's going to need better than a second a lap on those new tires to run our leader down of Reagan Carty. But it's going to be tight. We'll see. I don't know what the tire fall off is on these prototypes, but I guess we're all here to find out.
And there's not much in the way of fall off either, because we've seen the gap between Carty and Graham just stay relatively stagnant when it comes to just trying to catch each other after the several mistakes. And taking a look at it right now, Nathan Graham and Reagan Carty's pit stops differentiated by that is 4.5 seconds. Carty was faster in the box, so he might have just taken less fuel overall. And I don't think Graham took tires on that stop now either.
Yeah, and like I said, Graham had all kinds of traffic he was dealing with during that cycle, so really held him up. I would say that Graham probably lost 5 seconds dealing with the traffic. So that really set him back, and now he's got his work cut out for him. And the question is, can he run him down on those fresh tires? And I don't know. That's going to be a hard push, because I think that was always in Reagan Carty's back pocket, watching him race all night, save the fuel. I kind of figured that that's what he was going to do, make that last stop a no-tire stop, and he doesn't have to deal with trying to warm up tires. He can get back up there, get right back up to race pace, and maybe eke out another win, which he's been pretty good at doing this season.
Carty getting past Joshua Jackson, our third-place GT3 runner, on his way to try and continue stretching that gap. Meanwhile, Chase Barkas has some competition for that 6th spot now. Timothy Wilms and John Houchin just behind.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be a great battle here, a 3-car battle here in the GT3 field. We haven't been able to talk about a good battle here for a while, even though these guys are a lap down or more. This is all a battle for a position here, or battle for position here. Chase Barkas up there in that Corvette leading these 3 drivers. Got Houchin back there in 7th and Timothy Wilms back there in 8th. Timothy taking a quick peek on the outside of Houchin there. No doing at this point here. Going to swing it out wide. This is the way I like to make this corner. That way you can get a better run off, and just can't get the rear end of that BMW to stick there. So maybe going to have to hold off another corner or two as we watch that Porsche slip away just a little bit just ahead of him.
It looks like they're catching up to a lap car of Mike Swartzen just ahead. Meanwhile, the 4th running GT3 in Timbo Parker. Black flag, 4 incident limit, and he's going to have to make a drive-through, and that's going to dash his chances at a podium for the time being, too.
Yeah, tough break for Timbo Parker there. We'll watch him roll down and serve that black flag penalty with the drive-through. So having a solid night, is probably not going to affect him too much there. It looks like he's got quite a gap over the next car behind him in 5th of Jason Kristen, or not Jason Kristen, but yeah, Jason Kristen.
Nope, Billy Sigmund.
Billy Sigmund. Anyway, he's back out on track, served that penalty, and going to do what he can just to hang on to that top 5 position.
Back on board with Timothy Wilms here, chasing down John Houch, and Chase Barkas has stepped it out a little bit as they let the GTP pass. That's Jamie Lipke now. Wilms in the tow of the Porsche just ahead, trying to see where they can make this move to get around them.
Yeah, maybe going to try to outbreak him here. Oh, it looks like that makes it easy right there. We got the pit cycle starting to happen. So I'd actually forgotten that the GT3 still need to make one final stop there, and we watch Houchin come into pit lane right now to get his final stop. Maybe take a quick repair, get the nose of that thing fixed. Maybe get a little bit front downforce on that car and maybe able to open up that lead over that competitor of Timothy Wilms.
Meanwhile, Austin Cobb up to a comfortable 50-second lead over the second place runner in Derek Tierums after Tierums' penalty. Cobb still running a flawless race to this point, still stepping it out and trying to get to the end of this one as we are getting within the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, now both of our leaders, both in the GT3 field and the GTP field, are also points leaders. So they're doing what they need to do here tonight. So both these drivers have had a pretty good season, both with race wins, both race wins apiece, both leading the point standings. Doing a great job here tonight at Silverstone. This is kind of like a feather in my cap. When you can get a win here at Silverstone, that's putting all the drivers on notice that, hey, it's one of the toughest tracks in the world. So, I've got what it takes here. So you're going to really have to step up your game as maybe we go to Monza here next week.
Cobb threatening to put the third place runner of Joshua Jackson a lap down. That's how far ahead he is of the rest of the field right now.
That's what confused me earlier. It's amazing how fast these drivers have been out here tonight. So, and yeah, it looks like Joshua Jackson gonna not fight too hard on that position. He got Sammy Yosef coming up behind him in that GTP, looking for a safe place to pass, and gonna split him a little bit there. But Samuel wasn't too aggressive there. So Samuel Yosef there running in sixth. So after all the controversy he's had tonight. He's down 2 positions on the night from where he started, but it's quite impressive considering the night he's had.
Yeah, he's gone from last to 5th to 4th to last to 6th to last, and then back up to 6th again, as he has had comeback drive after comeback drive, and he has routinely been one of the more aggressive and talented GTP drivers that we've seen all season.
So I'm watching, I'm back up front watching Reagan Carty here. I wanted to check on the gap here with 10 minutes to go, where these two drivers are gapped out between him and Nathan Graham. So we're looking at Nathan Graham has gained about another couple seconds there, but it's just not enough. Nathan Graham's going to need a miracle right now to really run down Reagan Carty right now, because Reagan Carty has done what he needed to do. Both drivers ended up with a black flag here tonight. Both drivers had to serve a drive-through penalty, and Nathan Graham kind of got the worst end of it now, and is really going to have to step it up. You can look there on your screen there. You can see that gap. It's not really shrinking. So unless Reagan Carty really has an issue here, it's going to be Reagan Carty's race to lose.
Yep, we were saying that for a while before the race, and then we saw that Nathan Graham was really putting it to him for a majority of this race, keeping Carty honest, and Carty has just stepped it out, and like you said, both of them had the penalty, and Carty just able to manage it better and get through to the end of this one without too much casualty.
Yeah, and I've been in Nathan Graham's position many times before, and what you really got to do at this point is you just got to run your race and just not think about what Reagan is doing, and and just maybe you'll get that mistake. And speaking of mistakes, Reagan Carty really hit that curb hard, and going over those sausage curbs in these prototypes is a really difficult thing to do. There basically is no suspension travel. It's very easy to loop that car around. It's like driving a skateboard, a high-powered skateboard with a lot of downforce. So, but he's able to hang on to it, and that's part of that reason is he doesn't have any pressure. If maybe he had some pressure behind him, hitting a sausage curb like that might have sent that car around, but no pressure, just let off the gas, let that car settle down, and get it going again.
Yep, and it's just minimizing mistakes that has allowed Carty to step it out as much as he has over Graham. Graham looked like he caught back up within about a second on that last lap, but the gap stretches back out as Carty makes it through the middle sector once again. Still way out ahead in the lead as we are in the final 8 minutes of the race now.
Yeah, like I said, it's going to be Reagan Carty's race to lose at this point. So just going to have to hope that lap traffic plays nice and that he doesn't make any more mistakes here on the night. But running a solid race, another driver that's running a solid race similar to him is Austin Cobb. So Austin Cobb out there in the GT3 field, continuing to lead this thing. He is working on the lap traffic on a softic right now and gets by that BMW easily, and as Honest will let him by. But Austin Cobb doing what he needs to do, essentially mistake-free tonight. His teammate, if you remember, Derek Tierms, is currently running in second, had that drive-through penalty. It really cost him. He's quite a ways back from his teammate right now. So, all his Austin needs to do is just focus out the windshield there, drive a safe race, and he's going to have this thing wrapped up for another win on the season.
Just keep it clean is the biggest thing you got to do right now. Just wrap these corners. You can relax a little bit. We know they're not gonna, but you can relax a little bit, back it down, just take a preferred line as opposed to what's going to put you through fastest, and just make it to the end of this race is your priority at the moment.
Well, the one thing, I will say about that is running these road courses quite a bit. I hate to change up what I've been doing that got me there, right? So if I've been running a clean race and I've been running fast laps, I don't really like to slow down too much because that's likely when I'll make a mistake. And the other thing is we're out here on a 2-hour race. And so you get out here and you're not racing anybody, so the adrenaline level is starting to drop down, and maybe the focus and attention to detail in what you're doing on the track starts slowing down. And that's where you make a mistake in the final sections of this race, or the final sector, or whatever you want to call it. But it's very easy to do. Is your mind starts drifting off into other things like, what am I going to make for lunch tomorrow when I go to work? And all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're flying through a sand trap.
Yes, indeed. I think this might be one of our final developments in the field right now, and that'll result in a position change. Chase Barkas in 6th in GT3 has a penalty for incident limit, and that is likely going to put Timothy Wilms up into the 6th spot.
Yeah, bad news for Chase Barkas, but Timothy Wilms moving back up a position now. So after Chase Barkas serves that penalty, so as we're looking at Chase Barkas right now, go through Meggetts, Beckett's, and on to Hanger straightaway here. We'll see him make his way onto pit lane, serve that drive-through penalty.
Yep, great race, all session long, up till the end, and we get to the final 5 minutes to go, and that incident limit is just coming for everybody tonight.
It's got everybody's name on it. There's a corner with somebody's name on it, that's for sure. We're watching Chase Barkas head to pit lane and get that penalty served. But I'm back up here with the leader of the GTP field, Reagan Carty, who's coming up to Jamie Lipke right now. So Jamie Lipke's had some issues out on the track tonight. Last GTP on the field, so seen her battle Sammy Yosef pretty much all night long, but now she's out there running solo, about to be put another lap down here by our leader, Nathan Graham here, currently running 3 laps down. So Jamie not probably having the night that she thought she was going to have. Had a pretty strong start to the night, but was not ending where she wanted it.
Incident after incident involved in mechanical issues with the wheel has just put this into a race that they likely want to forget by the end of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm after 2 hours, I think I'm going to want to forget about it too myself. So I'm sitting here, my brain is starting to wonder what I'm going to have for lunch tomorrow, though. We're watching Reagan Carty head down Hanger straight here for maybe 2 more times here, as we have got about 3.5 minutes on the clock. So I think that will give us 3 laps to go based on the time I'm looking at here. So we don't, remember here on timed races, we don't get the flagman to tell us exactly when the white flag is. So I have to look at the clock very carefully here. So if they've got a minute 45, yeah. So it looks like 3 more laps and we will call this thing go. Actually 2 more laps and this race will be over.
Yes, indeed. Austin Cobb in the lead of the GT3 field is pulling it down pit road now. Not for penalty. It looks like he is... I apologize. That's Derek Tierums I'm looking at. They got the same paint scheme.
Yeah, Derek Tierums, you remember he came in really early, and I was wondering if he can make it. Now, you see he's getting service on that car, so we're looking at it right now. So he's getting a little bit of extra fuel, so he did not have enough. So he came in with about 40 minutes to go. And I was wondering about that. I was thinking, boy, that's really early, and is he going to have the fuel in it? Apparently, he didn't have it. So it's another unforced error there for Derek Tierums. I think he's going to be able to hold on to that second place, obviously, there with being on the lead lap, the only other GT3 car on the lead lap for his class. So, yeah, but just another unforced error.
Issue after issue for the field right now. Taking a look, we got Reagan Carty still in the lead of the GTPs. Nathan Graham has caught that lead back down to 12 seconds, but it is not fast enough. Within the final 2 minutes of this race, Reagan Carty likely going to be coming up to the white flag this time by, because we're going to be out of time for another lap.
Yeah, so we're watching him go through the final complex of turns here, down into the final chicane here on the front stretch. The white flag is waving out there in front there on the front stretch. So as soon as he crosses the line here, we've got one more lap to go. Reagan Carty had some issues out there on track. If you remember, had that early incident with Sammy Yosef, and then overshot the incident point limit, so it had to serve a drive-through penalty. Right now, he's on the final lap. Didn't take any tires on that last stop, but he just needs to cruise it home at this point.
Yep, just make no mistakes. Keep it issue free throughout the last lap of this run. Reagan Carty with almost a clear track in front of him. He's got the lap car, Jason Kristen, the only car in his windshield right now besides the GT3 of John Houchin just further up. And I think he might be thinking he's home free through the middle sector of this track.
Yeah, Jason has been pretty good letting these drivers by, so I know Jason, you won't have any issues with Jason Kristen. Then you got John Hochin up there. Or did I say that right? I said I was going to get it right, but John Hochin up there hanging on to that 8th position there in that GT3, that orange machine there, just ahead of Reagan Carty. Reagan Carty, he isn't under any pressure, so he doesn't really have to force the issue. You can just wait till he gets to the straightaway and pass that car on horsepower alone. Nathan Graham still about 12.5 seconds back there. Nathan Graham just needs a miracle at this thing. He's sitting in that machine looking at that windshield saying, please, please let the GT3 get in the way. Let Jason Kristen make a mistake, get in the way of that leader. But on the final straightaway here, down Hanger Straight, and we're watching Reagan Carty just with a solid race here tonight. Well, I won't say it wasn't mistake-free, but considering what all the drivers had to deal with, he's in the final couple of corners here. Just got that lap machine of Jason Kristen ahead of him there, and I don't think he's even going to attempt the pass here. Coming to the white flag right now. I think we can give this race to Reagan Carty. Once again, is going to win the race at Silverstone here tonight on Goat Locker Racing.
Meanwhile, Austin Cobb, our GT3 leader, is still making his way through the middle sector of the track, just running his race. He's got over a minute and 16 seconds to the second place runner of Derek Tierums, the only other car on the lead lap for the GT3s, rounding his way through. That's Stowe Corner up into Vale now, and we are through. Austin Cobb is going to put another win on the season.
You did it again, Jacob.
I did it again. That's the old straightaway. Damn it. Well, he's going to win it regardless.
It's been 2 hours.
Oh.
It's been 2 hours and twice as many beers. So, but now you can get ready, Jacob. Here he comes.
Oh my goodness, he's on the Hanger Straight now at a chapel, on his way down to Stowe. He didn't have to be perfect. He just had to do enough. Now making his way into the braking zone for Stowe. Sweeping right-hander, exits onto Vale, into the final chicane once again, hits the board, onto the curbs, left, then right, and then up into Club Corner, onto the front straightaway, and now Austin Cobb is your GT3 class winner.
Well, I'm glad we got that out of the way. Wow, what a great 2 hours there, man. I got to tell you, I wasn't sure how this was going to work out tonight, but they still put on a great show tonight, and I hope everyone had fun out there watching this race. But for right now, we are going to send it to a quick commercial break. We're going to come back with your unofficial results, and we're going to talk to our top 3 from every division or from division.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you, day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
We are back live at Silverstone after that 2-hour fantastic race tonight. Reagan Carty comes out on top in the GTP field. What a way to handle that prototype around this field. Nathan Graham put up a heck of a fight here tonight. Maybe gave Reagan Carty his best race of the season so far. Elijah Toth will finish in third. Brian Provo fourth with a solid finish there. Jason Kristen will finish in fifth. Sammy Yosef, Mr. Excitement tonight, finishes sixth. Jamie Lipke will finish seventh, and Bill Mulfield will finish in the last spot on the GTP field.
And for your GT3s, with his third win of the season, Austin Cobb runs a masterclass at Silverstone. Derek Tierham's once again finishing in second. Joshua Jackson brings home another podium in third. Timbo Parker in fourth. Billy Sigmund finishes fifth. Timothy Wilms in sixth. Chase Park is seventh. John Houchin in eighth. Brock Price in ninth. And Brandon Wallace rounds out the GT3 top 10. In 11th, Anna Softic, Kyle Deering finishes 12th. Daryl Pattison in 13th. Mike Swartz in 14th. Daniel Schmall, after the DNF, finishes 15th. Sidarius Days in 16th. J.R. Schomber in 17th. And Jesse Fox, I don't believe he did not take the field.
Well, that was your entire field there, I guess. Then well, let's talk to Reagan Carty. Hey, this is Ken Huber. You got a copy?
Yeah, hello, mate.
Hey, great race win again tonight, but it wasn't without controversy, that's for sure. And you did a heck of a job getting it back up front. But talk about that incident that kind of set you back there for starters.
Oh man, I didn't even know. I just I still haven't actually looked at it back, so I can't tell whether it was the Corvette like involved or whatnot. But when I just got tapped, I was just like, well, I got to try and make all this back up now, I guess. And just kept pushing pretty hard. Tires were definitely feeling it. So luckily we had to pit again, so I could get some fresh ones. But yeah, managed to pull through.
Yeah, it looked like you were doing that fuel strategy too, where at the very last stop, it looks like you didn't take tires and able to hold off Nathan Graham. It didn't seem like there was much of a fall off on those tires tonight.
I mean, it was like the like hot lap pace that just wasn't there at all anymore, and proper feather in the throttle a lot. I turned the traction control up a little bit as well, just to try and help me out, because when I came into the pits just before the very last splash, they were on like 70% already. So I was like just trying to nurse them back. But yeah, I mean, like consistency wise, they weren't like horrendous.
Well, it was a great job. Another race win on the season for you. Going to continue with that championship lead. I know you've been out there for 2 hours. So who do you have to thank for getting you this win here tonight? And we'll get you out of here.
Obviously, thank you to Throttleworks Racing for letting me race under their name again, and thank you to Skylar for making the livery that me and Elijah are running. And thanks to Lincoln Tech, Save 22, MK Fire Design, and Zach Graphics, in Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, Invets, and ATYL for putting on this league.
All right. Well, thank you again, Reagan Carty. We'll see you next week at Monza. So there you have it. That was our race winner in the prototype field. What you got there for Jacob?
Yes, indeed. I currently have our winner for the GT3 series, Austin Cobb. You got a copy?
Certainly do. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right. And I'd imagine you're doing a lot better. Race so nice, we'll run it for twice the distance. It's your third win on the season. Take us through your race.
Yeah, I mean, uh, it was a long one, man. I was not prepared for the length, like physically. It just kept going and going. But yeah, I did a lot of fuel saving at the start and saved enough to only have to pit twice. So that helped out a lot. And then the incident limit being so low, um, it just made it kind of like a technical that rewarded precision. So I just needed to, stay within the lines and make sure I didn't pick up that drive through. So that was the focus. And man, that battle I had with Derek in the middle, oh my gosh, like we were having so much fun. Very scary through Cop's Corner. He got around me on the outside, and that was that was ballsy to say the least. It was a very good move. He had warm tires, and I was still warming mine up. So I can't wait to go back and watch that on the broadcast, and then got back around him eventually. Kind of psyched him out going into the chicane, and he missed his braking marker. Got alongside and eventually by him. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Corvette felt very good here. A lot better than Spa. I'll tell you that. I was struggling at Spa.
I didn't see that one, but you definitely put on a clinic for these guys again. You and Derek putting on the class of the field for a majority of the race, and unfortunately, he just got caught up in issues. Who do you have to thank for putting you on the top step of the podium once again?
Yeah, Lincoln Tech, Save 22, MK Fire Design, ZAT Graphics, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, Ion Vets, and ATYL. Those guys help put on this production. It's very high quality. Love you guys. Love the racing that goes on here. Big thanks to everybody, and a big thanks to my other half for um, putting up for this nonsense for not 1 hour but 2 hours. She's been entertaining herself waiting for me in the living room.
Yes, sir. Congratulations on the win. What a run tonight. We'll see you at Monza.
I didn't dare ask about that, Jacob. That I was like, oh, that's interesting. But yeah, hopefully my wife's waiting for me too when this is over. But we're about to find out. Oh, anyway, I got Nathan Graham alongside here, up in the booth with me. This is Ken Huber. You got a copy?
I have a good copy, Ken. How you doing?
Oh man, what a great race you put on tonight. I know you didn't win it, but I got to tell you, it was a lot of fun watching, and you were able to get by and start leading when Reagan Carty had that incident early in the race. But then it seemed like you got caught up into maybe a drive-through penalty and maybe some lap traffic there towards the end of the race. Why don't you talk about your race for us?
Yeah, I had a good time. I actually didn't know it was a 2-hour race until I was sitting ready to grid up, so that was a fun little surprise. Um, Otherwise, yeah, I think Reagan had a little bit of rough luck in the first stint. He got spun, and then I had the lead for a bit. It's a tough track with the way they redid the off tracks. It's really easy to get them, and I think we probably should have bumped him up past 16 with a 2-hour race. But either way, I think we both got a drive through at some point. Otherwise, Reagan was too fast. I wouldn't have been able to probably keep up with him too much without some luck. So had a good time, raced him for a bit there.
Well, hopefully we get to see you at Monza and put some more pressure on him because I definitely think you were there. You were doing a great job tonight. So looking forward to seeing what you can do here in the future. Who do you have to thank for getting you the second place finish tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Jam Printing and Promotions, MK Fire and Design and Zach Graphics, V Speed, Alexander PCs, Cruising Classics, GTR Simulators, obviously Goat Locker Racing for putting on just some awesome events for everybody and everything they do for the veterans. and then for you guys putting on an awesome show every time in the broadcast, and then my team Part Time Pros, me and Provo here representing today for us.
All right. Well, there you have it. That was Nathan Graham, second place in the prototype field.
And I'm here standing by with that scares me every time. Derek
Sorry.
Tierums, this is Jake Lanky in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
What a race between. I feel like I can say this almost every week. What a race between you and Austin. And just once again, something happens that puts you on the back foot. Take us through that race.
Yeah. There always seems trouble always usually seems to find me. Yeah, it's a tough one with the off tracks. So I ended up with 2 drive-throughs, a couple headaches with traffic. But yeah, you are correct.
We watched you put it to Austin, make a great move on that one on the was it the second stint that ended up netting you the lead for a significant portion of that run, and by the end of it, you and Austin ended up hitting some traffic, and he got ahead of you. You had the off tracks, and that just put you behind once again. Uh, is there anything? Is there any track coming up, Monza included, that you think you might have the upper hand with Austin at?
Yeah, I mean, it's just really hard with him. I've been racing with him for a while, so yeah, it seems like no matter how hard you push, he's always a couple seconds ahead. So I don't think that tracks are gonna matter a whole lot. Maybe Sebring, so we'll see.
Yes, sir. I'm pulling for you. Finally, who do you have to thank for putting you up on the podium?
Yeah, I just want to give a big shout out to our title sponsor. Give me 1 second here. Our title sponsor, MK Fire Design and Zach Graphics, Jam Printing and Promotions, V Speed, Alexander PCs, Cruising Classics, and GTR Simulators.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time. Great run tonight. We'll see you at Monza.
Well, I am up here now with Elijah Toe, third place in the GTP field there. Elijah, you got a copy?
I do.
Hey, that was a great run here. I know you probably wanted to have a better run, but are you teammates with Reagan Carty?
I am teammates with Reagan Carty, though he is so much faster than I am that sometimes it doesn't feel like it.
I think
Um,
he's holding back secrets, is what I'm trying to say. He's not giving up all the goods there because he put on a clinic. But you had quite a quiet night tonight, but you finished in the top 3, so it's still quite an accomplishment here at Silverstone. Talk about your race tonight.
yeah, it was a pretty lonely race. I tried to make a, a very conscious effort to be more consistent this race. I struggled heavily in the rain at Spa. Uh, and I went off and wrecked my car with like 10 minutes left to go at the Red Bull Ring. So I really just wanted to be more consistent. And I knew I probably was not going to be able to fight with Reagan and Nathan up there. So I really just tried to put in some consistent laps and not wreck it, essentially.
Well, it looks like that's what you did, and look forward to see what you can do here at Monza next week. But who do you have to thank for getting you this third place position?
I would like to thank ThrottleWorks Racing for letting me race under their banner, along with Skylar for the livery. Along with that, I would like to thank iRacing, MK Fire Design, SimMotion, Harpoon Designs, Zat Graphics, and MK Fire Design and Zat Graphics.
All right. Well, there you go. Third place in the GTP field there. That was Elijah Toth.
And finally, I am here with Joshua Jackson, our third place finisher in the GT3 field. Josh, you got a copy?
Good copy, man.
We saw you fighting from all the way back in the back of the field. I think you made up 11 spots over the course of this race. It was either you didn't take a queue time or you ended up getting caught up by the off tracks, but that certain didn't slow you down any. Take us through it.
Yeah, so I definitely caught a few off tracks during the qualifying, and then I messed up and only filled up for 2 laps instead of 3. But no, I knew I had the pace for at least the top 5, so I just kept everything calm. I knew it was going to be a long race, so I just played the fuel strategy and just went with the flow.
Yep, just scythe your way through the field, all casual like we've seen you do several times. You're one of the you're one of the biggest hard chargers that we see week in and week out, and that battle toward the end, trying to keep ahead of Timbo and getting that third place off of Daniel Schmall with that unfortunate incident, just solidified how solid of a driver you are in this series.
Yeah, I know Timbo's a pretty good driver. I know we had that big battle at Red Bull Ring, and he's always fun to drive around.
Yes, sir. Another great result. Who do you have to thank for putting you on the podium?
I want to thank iRacing, MK Fire Design, Sim Motion, Harpoon Designs, and Zach Graphics, and then also all my friends and family that watch, and my wife as well.
Yes, sir. Biggest mover of the night. Thank you for your time. We'll see you at Monza.
Appreciate it, guys.
Take care.
Well, I gotta say, Jacob, that was a fun 2.5 hours, but it's also been a long 2.5 hours. So I'm ready to bid adieu to everyone here tonight. But I gotta say, I'm looking forward to Monza next week. We got the Turn 1 Calamity Corner here that's going to be coming up next week. Should be a lot of fun. We're back to the hour-long race, so it'll be a little bit quicker. But I'm sure you're looking forward to that yourself there, Jacob.
Yes, sir. Nothing puts on a show quite like the Temple of Speed, one of my personal favorite tracks, and it's a favorite of almost everybody that steps foot in it.
Well, got to thank everybody on behalf of myself, Jacob Lenke, Eddie Smith, Dougie Beard on cameras, and of course Patrick Dravick, Jamie Barkus, V-Speed, everybody that helps put this team together and puts these shows on every night. Be sure and like and subscribe. We'll see you here next week at Monza for another Goat Locker Sports Car Championship race.